Good the flower, my bobo, Monsieur, by your mother. Yeah, in the Uglaya, when you are you from, and the German not a body, the Yadamanu, and you. Now I must say, but boy, I'm where they get out, boy, I'm you, Mamma, the power, they am where you get out. I had them on your play, oh, yeah.
Papa Joe Feliz. I said, Dante Philippe.
You know, I gave me, you know, but I gave me. One year, if I look up, yeah. This I told you, well, never were brought up and I am here. Those are good here. Play me out here. I gave me women. You have one away and do the move away. You call it out. Yeah, I am on your blood in your back. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, my yeah. But everybody, man, the chip,
Doctor Payeto.
But everybody, my dear, God, but yeah. Come down where you see, down with this and no problem.
C'est à Marcel.
Boy, everybody, we don't want you, because boy, everybody, my dear, everybody. Bokeh, you look like that. Can you have a bouquet of papa? And then the buyer, you both black company. Maybe too many muscle now.
Gayachasia.
I have them out. Cabo, everybody, you play the Giabio. Well, you look at why you bounce yellow. No, you dwell on one woman. Then I tell you, I know. I'm not going
Me and one blenyon.
I know.
I'll point you. Yeah. Aja son. Kanya dia kanao. Emenao. Son. Emenao. Ta fly ni akwa de o. Asa kwa gudi. No akwa abotan. Yeah. Sbi Laurent. Sbi Antoine. Keina Paul. Paul Wallace. Akojo aseyo. Wo deri wa de pa. Yeah.
Enasio, tanabu atababu akosia we apanyo. Makwaba ebido yeta gbenuko si aklabu. Ye ya to baidenya, blade ya to ko be mo ba ya de mo ko na gbo podi ngo gberewo. Ya o mata si ni yakere. Inwo mo we. Anya pana de dada ye gebla. Namadu amumba kwa siasa hiyo ba. Ya jade ya blayo, jade ya dalwe. Na ya kayase. Ni kublu na ya yeta no nyo. Abe aboka na yeta hiyo. Eja ya we ya no. Abozo dalwe de ye de mumre.
Mama moi Yvonne.
You never know the walk on your ma. How point you?
Papa paye plan George.
How point you? How point you? How point you? Yeah, how point you? How point you? How point you? You cannot go. How point you? How point you? How point you?
Maman Jiro et Jenny.
Yeah, mama. You know, boy, no more why you want to do. Mama Veronica. Yeah, yeah, say, oh. I'm one you. I'm a bonnet who are ready. You who are the Bautu. I put you to make a Bautu, you, Mamma. Eh, my dada, I don't look at
Good evening, welcome. This is the Liberia Public Radio.
Those is my game. Yeah, gave our house soon. And you know, was a good eye. You know, my one of you do your bad, you know. Papa, what do go home? Where what I tell you? With the one you was it. You're like one guy, no more dear thing, I'll put my eye. And I ever enough. Never the mouse where you go. I will say I made it, may I buy down. Parent by your son. As I am by cheer quiet, some was there. No power, Janet, power. You walk where you are about you. I'll point you. I was saying, I am more. I'll point you.
Good evening, welcome to the show. I'm Alfonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. Welcome to the show. All right, that's a beautiful song there from neighboring La Côte d'Ivoire. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing your evening with us. This is the Diaspora Informative News outlet. No imitations, no duplications, just of ourselves and who we are. We say good evening to all of you in the house of LPR. Tagazian, Mr. Charles Weeks, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on your location. Elijah Malba, thank you so much for sharing your evening with us. And our man, Jerome Roberts, thank you so much. Welcome. You are on the official news outlet of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. I am your host, your presenter, the anchor, Alfonso Zienso, and the panelists will be here very shortly, as usual, to take a national conversation here for the good of the country. Tom, welcome, and I just do us a favor. By the way, there's a special way to welcome you. If this is the first time bumping into this news outlet, this is LPR. And I'm your host. The panelists will be here very shortly, and we will be having a conversation. Time check in the East Coast studios of the Liberia Public Radio. It's 8:12 Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to the show. Nehemiah, Commandant, good evening. Thank you for coming. And give all of you a kudo. Just hit that share button and invite someone to your company because LPR is on. Welcome to the show. Day here in the East Coast of the Liberia Public Radio, New England Bureau. There's I'm Alfonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radio. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for joining us. The panelists will be here very shortly. on a wide range of national issues. I will say thank you for just joining us right here on the Liberia Public Radio 10 LPR-TV. Yes, yes, the link is already out there to him. So just to let him know as well, if you are hearing me loud and clear. So to just giving a heads up, it's already there. So guys, good evening, welcome, good morning, good afternoon. If you are right here in the States, if you are in Liberia, the West African state, which is a center of gravity in politics at this time, a lot is unfolding, and there's a need that we have these national conversations on a daily basis, not to convert people, but to get a clear understanding who they are, what they represent, and what they intend to bring to the country. So we say the panelists will be here very shortly, and someone want to be popping through here as well, joining us here this evening. My understanding is Unity Party George Lobo. He will be coming here. A lot is unfolding. We are hearing another faction wing, a group claiming itself. They are planning what I call inaugurations or some sort of leadership installation outside of the main leadership. So what is going on? These are things that we need to know as well. And so we're going to be having this conversation. Day one, after what? The Akaras Gray versus Yeka Kalubai, the Supis, and the Simis, all in one. After everything yesterday, he said he turned the university back to the people, giving his country, taking his country back. Donald Trump. Okay, so it's quite interesting. And I believe there was a press conference by a group by CDC Youth League. I'm so sick and tired with these endless press conferences in the country. I'm not sure whether they are serving us a purpose. They are doing whatever think. Mr. Smith, Paul Smith, Nehemiah, Ty Footed, Cover. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are on the official news outlet of the Liberia Public Radio. This is our way of welcoming you. Welcome to the show. Very shortly, we're going to be getting the conversation. And tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you know, this guy, more guys, more are on their way to the Capitol buildings. Adolphus Dolo Fokba he's contestant in District Number 5, Bon County, Republic of Liberia. Adolphus Dolo Fokba. What I'm bringing to the public service, 17 years plus experience in public accounting, audit, internal audit, accounting, and finance, prepares us to bring accountability, equality, fairness, and better representation to our people. The people need to always. Come on. How many times we have not heard this here? Those are the cosmetic words of the politicians, very calculative, very good at designing, structuring, and remaking stuff, putting it in the bubbles in a glass, and you see it's spotless, blameless. That's politicians. They are very, very much calculative. He's going to be in the spin room tomorrow, hopefully, holding everything constant. He's contesting. And this is what we want you to do, to you, many of our followers, whether you're seditions, you're Liberty partisans, Unity partisans, ANC, for the good of the country. These people, we need to ask them questions as well. They are the first branch of government of the Republic of Liberia. So they have a big fish to fry in this thing here. Hell of a fish, catfish, if you were to say. We're not just going to keep our eyes on the presidency, even though the executive more or less is the power ball position. But when you have a first branch of government that will keep check on the executive branch of government, that will be honest, that we have that full representations of its people, and not just going to empower it and make their pockets rich. They eat first and then they put the people last. So the challenge, there are 73 seats at stake. We also need to do that. Welcome, Gert or Richard Gate. Good evening to welcome, believe in Des Moines, Iowa. Good evening. Thank you for being a committed members and followers of the Liberia Public Radio. We do highly appreciate. Someone writing yesterday said we should send a cash out. Yes, we're going to do it, but we're waiting it at our own timing. Yes. I don't want to be a guy who tries to, who want to, LPR doesn't want to be a network of a guy who wants to marry and he ain't even get a ring yet. He ain't even pay for the hall. He couple, he want to get married. When the family meeting call to order, they asking where you get a cameraman? No. You not book the hall? No. You get DJ? No. You not buy the woman gun? No. So how the hell you gonna get married? How the hell you gonna do that? We should buy your gown and you buy your DJ and everything. And your job there is just to walk and no. So what we are saying here, we are trying to make a little progress on our own end with the limited resources that we have, pour into our own pocket here and there. We don't want to accustom to get used to this Liberians' generosity of giving, and then we just be throwing cash out, zero out, give. No, we want to beg, but we got to show something tangible for which you are investing. I think that makes that's a great deal. And this is the Tuesday's editions with the panelists. Ambassador Dan, good evening. To welcome in the house of LPR, Mr. James Biago. Thank you so much. So we're going to be having this, and there comes our mate, Emmanuel Tabozi. So when the fullness of time comes, we will let you know. And it will go on because, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean we are not doing expensive. It doesn't mean we are not looking back. In fact, one of our correspondents, it just been a tough one here, but I'm grateful for the guys that I really work with, the panelists. Instead of network giving to them, they are giving to the network. That's the commitment. That's the authenticity and the genuineness we want people. It's not just all what you get, but what you can offer to your country. And that's the awesome, the brilliant men, women on this network that are providing services. Just last week, one of our correspondent mother passed, and the team rallied aggressively and were fully represented. Just yesterday, one of our correspondents coming from Grange, the Nima area, they were involved in a motor accident as he broke his leg. A serious scarf in get a head, big time cut in his hair, abrasions about. He's currently getting treatment at the JFK Medical Facility in Monrovia. He's been brought to Monrovia. So yes, we do need him, but there are some things that we need to take care of by ourselves, little by little. And then as time goes by, we'll get to the much bigger one, and then we ask our followers, our supporters, sympathizers, and those who believe in the work of LPR, say, hey, this is where we stop, and you can help us. So we'll do it in as much we need it. We want to do it with caution. So we don't want to take people's generosity for sort of granted and begin to do that. So yeah, we need. However, if you want to do it way ahead of time, let us know. But we are not putting it out here, and that's one of the reasons. It doesn't mean that we do not have. We always say we're pushing the hours, just how you're doing this. We're trying to manage the limited resources that we have, taking care of ourselves, home, family, here, back home, and keeping this sort of network running. It's a time. Sometimes you come from work, you're tired, but you have to do it. That's the commitment. Whether you get it or not, that's the commitment. And we value your precious, most importantly, we value your precious time. You look out for us in the evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is a link called Liberia Public Radio. If you are not following this page here, this is what we want you to do. Please follow the page, and you'll be able to get a notification. There are some folks who send me a message that they don't see it. It's because sometimes it triggers. So if you play in the video, if you hit on the video, there's going to be an icon, the bell icon. When you tap on that belt, there will be a drop down. And you want to go to the option that says all. say all notification. It means any live feed from in the USA, from Liberia, as long as it's coming from the Liberia Public Radio, you will get an immediate notification. But when it triggers, sometimes it goes to select special. So it means it's just randomly going to choose where you want. So that's the issue. So look on the video, you're playing it now, go to the bell icon, tap on that bell icon, there's going to be a drop down. In that drop down, you want to hit all notifications, meaning anything coming from Liberia Public Radio, you're going to get it. So that's exactly is George. Good evening, Emmanuel. To welcome in the house of Liberia Public Radio. Okay, let's get a conversation going. The man from the far right is a senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio base in Atlanta, Georgia. You know the history of Atlanta, right? Always the play where the guy plays the phone and he won a couple of thousand votes so he can't get to the White House. And the Secretary of State said no. That's putting country first. That's putting country first. He did not put the interest of his party, even though he was a Republican Secretary of State. He could possibly have done anything, and we'll have a conversation. But guess what? He took the political risk. Let me bring in Amos George, because he's in Atlanta, Georgia. I was asking here whether if he was Secretary of State, he would do the same thing. The legendary Amos George, of a strong supporter of the Alternative National Congress, ANC, of Alexander Benedict Cummings. Good evening.
How you doing?
I'm okay. Well, how I call supporter and then you something. Are you not a supporter of Alexander Cummings?
Okay.
Watch your audio. I'm not sure what I'm.
Supporter of Alexander Cummings.
Huh?
I am. Something's wrong with my screen, but I don't know.
Wow. It's yeah.
Okay. Is it all right?
Yeah, it's
Can you
all
hear me
right.
now?
Kind of black. Yeah, it's okay, but it kind of black. You need to call. You need to call Cummings to maybe get you some. You're doing a hard work on this network to get you some. How you call it? HD camera, so that. Good evening to my man, boy, Shah, right here, Elisha, Ellis Moult, my man, and Amadou Stewart. Good evening to you, great guy, folks. Welcome in the house of LPR. Okay, Per George, you were not part of the meal last night. What's going on?
Let me see. What?
We are getting you louder. We are getting you. You want to go off and come back, you said? You are audible, though.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah.
Are you everything okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. No, I said you was in part of the dinner. We had a great dinner last night. You was in part.
Yeah,
Welcome,
I was in and out.
From PA, Saber Harris. Good evening. What? You were in meeting with ANC?
No. That have to do with family issue, man. Not ANC.
Oh,
I'm a bad player. I'm not official. I'm a floor member of ANC.
Oh, floor member. All the talking you'll be doing here, my man.
Yeah.
All right. I can't talk free for anybody. Yeah. Becky, yeah. You can't tell me at the end of the day, God will bless you. God been blessing me.
When there's a cost, waiting for a cost.
I can't talk free for anybody. No way it can be. No market work Bible draw. No way. If I talk for you, we got to make it. Because nothing is guaranteed. We're all politicians. Huh?
As I was following people last night, it was interesting conversation.
Oh. Is there something that would perhaps you wanted to hit on before we get to this point that perhaps if you are here, you're going to talk about? You can call about he turned the university back to the people.
The general who called Brady Allison invaded the university. Then you got Moses Gray. I can't agree now. The next general again who invaded the university. So if all people with a great do great thing at the university, Brady Allison move or be removed. Akaya Gray went through the gate, the general, another general. So it's quite interesting for Liberia. The great people. We got to start looking up to them now. But yes, I was on the conversation. And Sister Marcel said the other night last week that we believe that most Akaya Gray should now go on the campus because we saw this thing ahead and we're saying, hey, Gray, don't go on the campus. It's not that you don't have the right to go there, but you are a national leader. You are there to solve problems, to ease tension when you see a breeding. But to our utmost surprise, the man rode on the campus. Not just going there as an individual, when there were a group of people, forced his way into the camp on the campus. So I was looking at that. Eh?
You say he forced away?
We got the police. I mean, if he didn't post the police,
okay, let's bring in legendary Sissy Goyot, your man, your patron. The guy you were praying for you to be here yesterday. I don't know what I was saying, good faith or something.
Yeah, but I sure was in good faith.
You see how I came right today so?
I love that.
Now how you can tell who the senior analyst on the play and who the elementary analyst then?
Yeah. I never knew this guy was a what? Yeah. We got along with Esau.
I see your word. I will get my own background so I can be the senior. I can be one of the senior analysts. So I want to be Uga.
Don't mind it, he ran away strategically last night. When they look to answer for
the man moderated last night, and I got a vote for every time he conducts volumes of messages comes in. So this guy, he needs to be the NIS. So, so then I asked the guy, I said, but what about Joy? He said, no, that baby, you do me. He will get at us the audience.
But on a serious note, I want to see Pastor Josh actually steering this one day, because to ask the question, say you will make plan for you asking the question.
No, that gets me straight. If you are a moderator, you don't do too much talking.
That's true, and I think Mr. So know that why you been making me moderator, because you want me, you want to keep me quiet.
You don't do too much talking because you want to hear from the people. So that is a little different. But as I was saying,
you sure you can hold that ceasefire?
No, I can hold that ceasefire. So I'm a very good listener. I'm a very good listener. I like everybody to express.
Alexander Kurage, good evening. How's NC North Carolina? Okay, guys. Good evening, Sisit. Good evening, and welcome. Yeah, send that link to Josh Lobo. He did call today.
Oh, he did? Okay, all right. Yeah, I just texted him, but I don't think he saw it because I texted him.
I did. I sent it. He called today, and I sent the link actually. So
I mean, my Gina PP brother show up today. I haven't seen him in a long time. Prince Kamara, hey boy, that flower baby. I haven't seen him in a long time on the year.
Prince, so
the Gina PP show face.
I mean, I don't be plow with our people there, and
print on my mail. Don't mind, you can pee for me all day.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Good evening. Welcome, Prince. Good to have you here. Mr. Kanan Mohammed. Good to have you here. Ambassador Milton and Nathan Cowan. Hopefully, I call it that. And Salam Nelson. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on your location. Thank you so much for your commitment to this network. So, guys, I don't know who had a good dream last night. Yeah, we are the day of Akara Gray marching on to the Mount Everest, the State University, plus the man from District. You can call about which district is it? District 6?
Number 10.
10, district number 10.
10?
Yeah, District 10. Our District A versus District 10.
10. Yeah. I hereby 10 I don't know what that country is too interesting. I hear about your university. So
yeah, the man recaptured the university as a because they all general. The any person Akara's grade at general. So Akara's grade when captured the university. You get about when
he didn't leave men on ground to deploy.
No,
and he left.
no, it's the guns that liberate must not rule that they Prince Johnson before he became senator. So he turned it over back to the people. Hey, my brother Alex, how you doing, boss man? How's it going, Castle?
Welcome our own primetime viewer, listener, follower, Mami Esther Tapit Mode. Thank you so much. Your commitment to this network surpass every other thing. And she always check her on, and when the sound is not right, she always give that notification. You see, this is where we have few of Liberians like that who just want the right thing to be done. Puerto Huerta will be in good shape. But it will be difficult when you have Emma George then with those extreme voices, who sanction voices, who slam people. So say you need to start texting me. You need to start texting me.
Yeah, man, I trouble. You see, when I'm already, I don't be forced. You.
No, Madam Mo, you're not late. You just right. Not too late.
The other day I said in the chat room, I'm the footballer. You're gonna kick me. Anytime you want to kick me, you'll kick me.
So today, and I'm going to be moderator here. Go. I here today to make flower.
Oh,
I'm going
to tell you what to Pajola moderate.
That he the one want to make
flower. Not tonight. I won't be the
okay.
So somebody please tag how to call it Keto can on tonight and Jonathan can on. For a long time, they two put me plow. They want to make him plow in the chat room.
He's still looking for the ANC 75K. He promised
to. Now we start the fire already.
No, ain't no fire.
All right, let's okay, guys, let's get a program going. Mr. Bablo, thank you so much for joining here this evening. AB Diallo and all of you guys. Okay, guys, let's get now. We Liberians, all of us, are inclusive. We are good of being to be more reactionary than finding solutions, right? And everybody were going nuts. We all were going crazy yesterday. Trust me. Today, bring your own. Tomorrow, if you on your own. So, one of the guys concerned, we still need to have them here. And I think Marley Jones mentioned something yesterday to take a revision of the handbook. But I think there's a press statement coming from the embassy, right? Some statement came up from the embassy too as well.
Today or yesterday?
Yeah. Was that yesterday?
Was today? I checked on the website. I didn't see anything today.
Yeah, I tried to verify that too, but I don't know what I was.
What I saw on their website 20 minutes before we came on is warning about demonstrations happening, warning U.S. citizens to go around the capital area.
It's still here. But anyway, we always like to make sure of those things before we can discuss it. But yeah, we are here. Let's get to the point today. Yesterday, the country literally was in flame, not really burning with fire, but tension mounted in the country. We all went to bed. They all went to bed. Everybody going about their delayed activities, which is good. Is that a solution to the problem? Let me start with you, Eamon George. Or do they need an extensive conversation to get these things in order once and for all? Do they have the guts to do that?
No. That is not a solution to the problem. They don't have the will. Because I saw the debate today, and the people who should be spearheading the debate, they don't want to take charge of it. They try to want to throw a fishing net now, and to grab everything now to say, no, this one, we have to look at it one, and we have to look at it one. But what happened? If you see something, and this is the problem sometimes people have with us, there's nothing wrong with me telling an ANC member what it was wrong. There's nothing wrong. What happened is that it make you a national leader. It make you a person. You have to stand for something. Because if we want to correct the mistakes, then we have to acknowledge what happened and those who are responsible. Then we can decide to move forward. But if we say we want to correct the mistake and we do not want to hold people because they're from our camp, we'll not solve the problem. And this is what's happening. I listened to this debate today, the Capitol. Let me just digress a little bit. Sister and myself were here the other night. We said about you have the right, but don't go on the campus. Because if you go there, things will go to out of hand. Sister myself said here. Now listen to the radio station today this morning. People said there were several calls on local radio station in Monrovia. Since inauguration, go on the
yeah, but I'm a free thinker. I think we need to have an open conversation.
Yeah.
Somebody told Alfonso, even though you're from Tadmeha, you guys from Tadmeha, but Mr. George from Tadmeha too on the other side, that's in for whatever reason of Alfonso type political ideology, so he shouldn't go there for the good. Alfonso is a representative now from Grand Gile. I make declare myself temporarily just for the show a representative. He shouldn't go there. Is that a solution to the problem? Let's assume we have to put it. We got to put it in. Let's put them in the column. I want us to take a holistic approach in this conversation now. It has happened. We need to find a solution. But let's assume a Kara's Gray Hoy piece to be crystal clear, considering his position. I don't think it was a good, wise judgment. He could have done it different other day, but again, power struggle, frictions, who owns the land situation. But I'm asking, was that a workable solution to the problem?
Like, what do you mean?
A solution, but he not going there. Is that going to put everything to a rest, or just was on an interim basis we are talking about? They need to buy the guy new. They need to buy new stuff.
You see.
So you are a national leader. You are a national leader. You are chairman on executive in the, you have a responsibility. So if you see something, people said, don't you come here, we attack you, or don't come on the campus. Good. What a leader would do, go back, call the authority of the university, and say, hey, this is what happened. How can you know this situation? And the university XYZ.
Look, I don't need too much of salad dressing. I don't need too much of salad dressing responses here tonight.
Listen, let me say this. Let me say so. Maybe you say so will help me out.
Don't say on your own. Don't look for Ecomo here. Not Ecomo.
No, okay. Let me just say that. A congressman wants to visit a school. Will he not inform the administration of that school? We talk about freedom. Akagre is not an ordinary person. He wants to go on the university campus, which is his right. But don't you know that Akagre has a responsibility to inform the authority of the university that I will be visiting the university at this time, at this point, because the university is on an obligation to provide security for Akagre. None of those things happen. You decide that I'll just walk on the campus because I'm a citizen and I have the right. Is that the kind of leadership we want to see? And this thing was pre-planned by Akagre. It was orchestrated by him, premeditated. He walked with a man from 9th Street to the university campus. The gate was locked. The police should have even stopped it. That's why I said there's so much to go around.
So it appears to me
entering the campus. Whoever should have been stopped at that gate because the authority have closed down the school. Whoever
let me bring in Sissy. Let me bring in
the issue, the question now, let me just the issue now. How can we address this issue? We need people with open mind, people who are honest, and say, look, this, what went wrong. This person did it, this person did this. And the way forward here is, if anybody in government, you have to put forward a policy. If anybody in government holding authority coming to visit the university must inform the authority. Let there be proper security. Not any time and they go just get a minister, I just go on the campus. There are security implications for these things here. So there are a whole lot to be put in place. But how can we put it in place? We must first of all acknowledge the problem and tell people you have a responsibility to go anywhere, but there are consequences that come with that responsibility.
Okay, let me hold you.
Akaya Grace, right? People in this.
Let me hold you.
Justifying.
Let me hold you there right there. Let's have a conversation here. Sissy, I've said this. We are not good or noted of managing crisis, but we are very good at creating crisis. This thing should have been avoided. This thing should have been avoided. And the people who are the authority that should have done that, those steps wasn't taken. I'm a free thinker, open-minded until I really get to the facts. I am wondering here to what extent, whether there was a backdoor conversation with the university authorities. Carol Gray, he being on radio, he said, you're going to go there. People been calling, don't go there. Those were signs, those were symptoms of when things happening. So it don't just drop like that. It's a gradual process, and those tensions are built. I'm wondering what the UL authority knew about, or what was some of the conversation that took place behind the scene that you don't know, I don't know, or the public don't know. Someone is hiding some information somewhere here, because for somebody, group of people to just match, even though police were pressing, and then came out to put out a release 12 midday when the damage is already being done, the authority at the UL2 they need to provide our explanation. We need to hear from them. Now, will we get to the bottom line of this thing yet? I don't know. Probably you have the answer.
Well, no. As usual, sadly, we will not get to the bottom of this thing. It will be one of those things that will become one of the talking points, and we'll move away. But let me say a few things. The administration of the University of Liberia actually issued a press release before 12 o'clock. They issued a press release that the campus are going to be closed effective 12 o'clock. Albeit that the University of Liberia leadership failed the people of Liberia massively, has been failing the people of Liberia massively. A lot of the people who lead the University of Liberia have gone to universities across the globe. My own high school I teach at, before the murder of George Floyd, we had police officers stationed there for security. Now we have private security stationed at our places. Not even Ilhan Omar, who is the federal representative for the place where my school falls, can come on my high school campus without having it cleared through the superintendent of schools and down the chain. You don't just jump on and say, oh, because I signed in legislation, we paying the tuition so I can come on campus. It doesn't happen that way. But Liberia is a different place. So I'm not going to try to hold Carol's Gray accountable on American standards. But what I can say here is, I said this the night before the kerfuffle, that Akaros Gray, and every Liberian, to the extent that the University of Liberia has not issued a guideline on how people are supposed to visit the university. To the extent that I haven't seen it, every Liberian citizen have the right to go on the University of Liberia campus. But if your presence on the University of Liberia campus would disrupt normal operations, then you have to think twice if you are in leadership. And the university have to think twice if they are inviting you. That is why immediately after the murder of George Floyd in Minnesota, a lot of school districts cut ties with the SROs. Those are the security officers, the police departments that were based in these schools. They started stopping people, legislators and leaders who have been making speeches that were kind of somewhat racist. They stopped them because they understood that those people being on those campuses was going to ignite the fire. So sometimes you got to look at the public good. So my question, look, everybody was in error. SUP was in error. SUP should not be determining who's go on the University of Liberia campus. There has to be a guideline laid out by the administration of the University of Liberia that is available to everybody. So tomorrow when I go to Liberia and I say I want to hold a math lecture series at the University of Liberia, can I just jump on and go and stand on the market and on the Palawan and start talking? That should not be the case. So we need the University of Liberia to lay out, if it's already available, then they need to make that public. Because that would have fixed a lot of these things. Number two.
Quickly here, I don't have to interrupt. Do you think it exists?
I don't know. And because I haven't seen it, so I don't want to say, but I haven't seen it. If it exists, then it's hiding somewhere. Number two, the Honorable Akaros Gray is a very smart guy. But my question is, what was he hoping to gain or change by his appearance on LU campus? So now he's been there and back. So his going there, does he think that is going to stop SUP from chasing other people away from University of Liberia campus? Now I was seeing on Facebook that SUP is planning a visit to the Capitol on Thursday, to his office.
Yes.
The people's house. Now the people coming to your house. So, I kept saying this thing over and over. Just because something is your right doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing to do. Honorable Akaros Gray escalated this thing. Because when Aloysius went on their campus and SUP militants behaved very despicably, that was a violent behavior that should be condemned by everybody. But the rightful, I think in my mind, the rightful move for a sitting lawmaker whose district the university sits in would have been to call the university authorities to the Capitol and have a hearing and force them to lay out security guidelines and lay out guidelines for who is accepted on university campus and who is not. That was going to be within his right, within his purview. He should have done that. But to say that the LU is in your district, and so knowing that it's a powder keg that you're going to show up there. So what would have happened yesterday had riots happen where people were getting hurt and stones being thrown? Which district are going to suffer the most? His district. Yeka Koluba left district number 10 and came down to his district. So had there been any kerfuffle with people burning down things, it was going to be with the Akaros Gray district. So why didn't you think about that?
Let's stop there. I want to this because this is a national conversation, and folks, we say thank you so much for joining. We will bring your comments. We'll put the number out here, and please, on this network, we undo emotion. It's about the country, so it's not about our own personal feelings. We look at the feelings of everybody and say, hey, this is what Liberians are concerned with. The actions of Yeki Koluba coming in with his men from his district are hereby turn your university over. Does that also intensify the already burning blaze that were there?
It made it worse.
It's assuming Supis or no, what the other guys, Simis or whatever.
Same student.
Yeah, whether they were still present at that campus. Imagine what you think will happen.
That's the point I'm making, right? That's the point I'm making. And that's the point. That's the question I asked to my brother yesterday. And he said, thank God it ain't happen. I said, like, bro, we're gonna start giving God hard time with too much thank God. We can be creating problems and be thanking God that, you know, somehow we avoided catastrophe. Look, I will continue to say this. Akaros Gray could have elevated the conversation differently. He has so much power. He could have called for a hearing, a plenary hearing, forced the University Library to take action against supists who are creating a hostile environment on the campuses of the University of Liberia. But now, you tell me now, if there is a hearing about this thing that transpired, will Akaros Gray be a part of the hearing as a lawmaker or as a contributor to the fracas? That is the problem. But again, I say out here that Akaros Gray was within his constitutional right. I'm not going to take that from Akaros Gray, and I'm going to be on here to say I denounce in the strongest term, as an educator, the actions by SUP and other student activists to stop certain people from entering the University of Liberia campuses because in their mind, these people are national looters. Let there be law. Let the law say we find them guilty, and as their punishment, they're not allowed on the university campuses. Okay. But I think what they did was wrong. This is not the first time it's happened. I, by no means, am I a supporter of the CDC, but facts are facts. Every Liberian, regardless of whether you're a seditian or you're a UPS or you're ANC or LPP partisan, should have the right to move about freely where government allows everybody to move. Since when has SUP now decided to lay out and become, according to their own term, the barometer to measure the temperature of who has the moral authority to enter the University of Liberia campus and who is so morally decadent that they're not allowed on the University of Liberia campuses? This is wrong. This is the highest learning, the highest institution of learning in the Republic of Liberia, and we deserve better, and we expect better out of our students and out of professors and leaders at the University of Liberia. But I think that to your question, I think this has elevated the conversation to a level where now some of us have to start asking the University of Liberia that they need to put in their budget, if they already don't have in their budget, security to take care of campuses. When I drive to go to my university campus here, when I drive back wrongfully on campuses, I get a ticket issued by the university police. If I park somewhere where I'm not supposed to park, I get a ticket issued by university police. If there's a crime on campus, the investigations get started by the university police before they bring in the city police. I think this has been happening for a long time, but I think the interaction of Akaros Gray and Yeka Koluba, I think now brings this to the forefront where I hope the lawmaker Akaros Gray and the lawmaker Yeka Koluba will see reason that they will add this into the budget to fund a private security funded to take care of the properties and the campuses of the University of Liberia, and they will demand that the university administration come up with guidelines on how visitors are, what are the channels for visitors to enter the University of Liberia campuses.
Okay, hold on, I'm coming to you. Mr. George.
Yeah.
The crisis or the event has occurred already. We are trying to find remedies, and those we will discuss all. We're going to enter all out here. Should national government to take it revisit? I remember the day of Samuel Doe, there was banned because students, there were a lot of things were going on, and the government found out there were a lot of things were not happening. I remember those days by Mbala, was then advisor to the People's Redemption Council. He was invited to speak there, and the same it was the same soup, more that because they are pro-government, and he wore military uniform. He was in his military attire, and the people asking why he wore. He said, "Well, the president has commissioned me as Major by Mbala." But yes, there was some hostile thing here, but let's talk it so and put it out there on the table to solve these problems once and for all. And again, time has evolved. So the days of yesterday, the 80s, now we are in the 21st century and what have you. The activities of the students, university is a big place, it's not elementary, it's not K2, K1 to that much regulate. But to the extent here, we here in this place here, it doesn't mean you are in college or university, you can just do things in a kind of way. And this is why I kept making the point, political parties, this time are going to be inclusive. The government, the opposition, they are unable to channel their own messages now. So they are using universities, colleges, and other schools to promulgate their messages. This is why we're saying the whole train now is being derailed. Should the government, national government, take a revisit of student activities, if need be, considering why it's happening now?
Let me say, Mr. So what are we talking about? Other institutions around the country, government institution, you don't see this much visual anchor there. But there's something, let's try to go back a little bit. How did things started? There have been some beef between the university, SOUP, and some official of the CDC level government. Jefferson Kochi, Moses Akaya Gray, and others. You saw what happened July 26th. People who was citizen uniform beat that university student at the embassy, opposite embassy. Beat him, scraping naked. What did the government do? They say they arrested some people in the building. That might have gone like a cold water. These are the things that start to build up the anchor against the sitting government. If those things start and the government arrested by prosecuting those involved, it will send a clear message to either side that if you do this, there'll be a consequence of your action. Nothing happened. The tension is bringing up. This Augustine Howard guy, I listened to one, I think, Subsecretary General. He said this guy is well known on campus. He said when he graduated, he was even used to be helping other guys with their accounting lesson there. He said he all going there. He said, but this trip he made, I think he went to the student center according to him. And I think they started drinking. And he said, well, he said that way I think the problem came from. I think maybe he and some of the students got into some argument and ensue about altercation. That's what he said. So this guy was not just screenshot that he was not familiar with the campus. He knew the campus, he goes, and they say he used to go there all the time. But this time they say he went, I think to still saying Hamilton found out what happened there, and now brought in. So we all condemn it. It should not even happen. But the question here is, Mr. So, we cannot be selective in enforcing justice. Those are the issue. We want to be selective. As a government, if there are people break the law, hold them accountable, regardless of which side they fall on. Because then you send a message to anybody. But if you want to be selective, that hey, people who are in my camp want to do anything, I will give them a pass. People who are not in my camp want to do anything, we'll crack down on them. Then, of course, you are setting the country or the institution for disaster. That's a recipe for chaos. And this is what's happening.
Yeah, my question is still spinning. I'm asking whether national government, whatever happens in the past, is a commentary.
There are laws on the book. If you go to work and vandalize government property or private people property, you should be charged. There's no excuse for that. But the law is not.
If the government did that right now, let's create another open front here. If the government did that, students riot and all of that, and students began to be charged and prosecuted, how would that play out with other advocacy group?
Fine. If the government is transparent, then if you're not certified as it, I don't care for who advocacy group, but the thing here is transparency. I will not say that you think I will want for someone from the ANC to go student on the campus of A to go and break property, and I say, oh, leave him because he's from ANC? No. Because that is not a behavior, is not accepted in society. So we should not condone it. So the biggest priority, if government wants to enforce these policies, we should be transparent. That is the question. And because they have not been transparent, this is why it leading us to that certain people can do certain things and get away with it. Now, you tell me, if I drove on a campus, maybe Georgia State, they get disclosed, the officer standing there, they say, hey, nobody's a liar today. You think I will force myself into that gate? If I make that turn, what will happen to me? What will happen to me? I sure am going to be arrested and charged. But you see, police officer at a gate, the university had issued an order. All classes are suspended immediately. Then you see one man coming with a group of people. And that's why I said that is the failure of the law enforcement. Because if I were there, I would have told Gray, sir, you're not entering. I would have done it. And anything you make, I will have you arrested.
All right. I mean, a former police officer.
What would be the charge if he arrested Gray? What would be the charge?
They are phone face also.
The authority said nobody should enter.
That a charge?
The authority said nobody should enter.
That would be the charge?
Did the university tell the police nobody should enter, or did the university just say the university was closed?
They said it was closed. It was closed, and they had officer posted at the gate.
So this thing here, if the university said it was closed, how come
have a press? Hold on, Mr. So if the issue of press release that university is closed, everything is closed. That's it. If the campus is closed, you don't have a letter from the administration that will allow you on the campus. What are you doing?
You know what?
If you force yourself to go on campus, what will happen? Say you get a school there. The principal said, or the president said, school dispersed. Every student leave the campus. Officers close the gate. Then John Brown come. Oh, I'm supposed to go. They said no. Do you have a letter? No. No school. The place is closed.
So you see, this is a convoluted thing here, and I think the university authorities, they kick the can down the road. They need to have a good explanation. Because when you go into school here, for example, if there's a storm here or whatever, this sort of comparison can be a little bit crazy, but let's assume the university order that is campus going to be closed. What was this communicated widely to the students, to the public? They need to come out. They can't help to stir up something and we're not even hearing from them, because there's a reason for the closure. It's not a vacation, something.
Yeah. Because
there was a potential problem developing for which they were doing that. One person said they're going to be going. The other person said don't go. And the other person, when you can't, you're going to see you're going to meet man. Yeah, we are. The order, according to their statement, the call for the closure. If you call for the closure, besides just giving that press statement, is insufficient. What other mechanism that were put in place to make sure that that place is sealed up and no one, whether from the executive mansion or from the White House, because it's been order closed, so many faculty, students, and everybody, now no one even should be, except maybe those who got there and that information, the next thing they should be vacating that, they should be leaving that campus, correct? the mind believe, that's my thinking. But I was talking about the government, and I saw say you were that was something you were sweeping down here. Should the government shouldn't get involved? Who should get this whole setup going?
You don't. So, what laws would the government be enacting that would be specific to only a certain group of people? That would be illegal. Student politics should be governed by the universities and within confines of the rule of law. That their actions do not violate the laws or the city ordinances in the cities in which they live. Look, I'll tell you something, Mr. So. In one of my grad programs when I was at Stephen F. Austin State University, I was a graduate school student senator. I was elected graduate school student senator. And this is deep in the heart of Texas. And we had organized to not allow the governor at the time to come on campus. Because the governor of the state of Texas, because he had approved the increase of tuition. And the regents have voted for it and agreed to it, even though the student government has said no to it. And so during his re-election, he wanted to come on campus to get some photo ops and things because he had done something. We organized a rally to stop the governor from coming on campus. And what ended up happening was that our administrator, the first negotiation was, look, he's going to come on campus. You can protest. You can stand up, you can yell, you can make your placards. He's going to come. But when the governor at the time saw that it was going to be unnecessarily chaotic, he pulled a plug. He didn't show up. He came back weeks later after he had already reached out to the leadership of the university, reached out to the student governors, have a conversation, told us where we went wrong, and he came back on campus. Some of us sat in the audience and booing the whole time when you were speaking, but he came back. There was no kerfuffle. The University of Liberia has to have control over its property. The University of Liberia needs to make sure that they have rules and regulations in student handbooks that talks about behaviors that are not acceptable on the University of Liberia campuses and the consequences that go with that. The University of Liberia, if they can have their own security force, or if they can put in budget to have a branch of the Liberia National Police station there, should be able to issue trespass. You see here in my school, there are some cases when they misbehave so much to the point we trespass you because you have an education right. We can't stop you from being educated. You come to school for 7:45, 3:45 when the bell ring, you out. You're not staying there for basketball to watch and get nothing, you trespass, you out. There are some parents, because they have gotten in fights before on our school campuses, they are trespassed. They are not allowed on the school property anywhere. So the University of Liberia, being the highest institution of learning with a lot of PhDs and a lot of master's degree holders, I think it behooves them now to look at this. This is not in an effort to stifle free speech or to stand on the rights of the students, but it is also to ensure that certain people are not violating the rights of others. Whenever your action on a school campus leads to the disturbance of normal activities, the normal activities of a university is learning. And so when your actions lead to the disturbance of normal activities, there should be consequences. There ought to be consequences. It can't just be business as usual. There are students, mind you, that would have been on our campus yesterday to do other things. But because the University of Liberia saw that with the coming of Honorable Akaris Gray and the counter coming of Honorable Yeke Korba, merging with SU was going to create a problem, they canceled classes for those students. No group of people should have the right to infringe upon the rights that other people went on campus for, to stop their learning. That was wrong. And the University of Liberia ought to be ashamed of themselves with all of the PhDs and master's degree holders sitting in that place. They need to come up with a way, a method, and a format to make sure they safeguard the University of Liberia and make sure that education, academic, intellectual exchanges happen, even if you don't agree with somebody.
Folks, the conversation is about to get interesting. I will be right back. evening to welcome the panelists are here, and we also have the guy from the drive-through.
I mean, you're blocking your face with the panelists are here symbol.
I know.
Oh,
I
okay.
know. I'm communicating with the drive-through guy. Let's bring in from Phoenix, Arizona, George Lobo of the Unity Party, USA, Canada. George Lobo is here with us this evening. Mr. Lobo, good evening. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. So. It's good to be here. I see my pop here.
Mr.
My dear brother,
before they speak here, they make out a pay fund. They may maybe keep sending him message back and back before you.
My man, you won't believe it.
I just got a message from him, Ambassador Boyka should be paying a visit on the campus here. So Lobo going to be telling us what the ambassador going to be doing at that campus there. I don't know what I put the campus over to.
Myself going to have lunch on College of West Africa campus.
No, they're not public. They're not public campus there. So that one you got restriction. You gotta either go to G.W. Gibson and do your own right there.
Okay, Lobo, good to have you here. Always, these are national conversations, so we always like to pull the strings left and right, despite people, different political ideologies, disagreement, national conversation when it comes to play, we try to figure out to find a good remedy to what is happening. Let's get you into this fries here already. And I know you already have your own talking point, but I don't know. My audience just don't know about it. Let's take a little holistic and broader approach to this whole thing here. Kakara Gray defied conventional wisdom. He said the university is within his constituents, so more or less he has perhaps constitutional authority. I don't know precisely what that law is on the book. Koluba, on the other end, came from the far side. He said, okay, you representative, Masaya representative. Who owns the land? He made sure Kara and his guy left. He went by. A year by, turned the university over. So where is the right here? It's on the both sides here. Or what should we be focusing on now? The damage is already being done. How can we get a new beginning, new start to put this thing to a rest once and for all?
Mr. So, first and foremost, let me thank the Liberian people for joining us. Again, it begins with the head. This is a complete breakdown in leadership. The very first thing, Mr. So, you know where the University of Liberia is located. And one would think that on a very busy Monday, the first day of the week. So up to that time, that means President, he ain't come to work yet. That's the first thing. Because that place is a stone throw away from the executive mansion. That place is across the road from the Capitol building. But let's just use common sense. So there's no one in the CDC hierarchy that good judgment that from the moment Akara Gray made that pronouncement would have called him and say, look, it would not be a good thing. Don't do it. Let's forget about President Weah, because I think President Weah is more of an absent-minded leader. That's who he is. He functions well without being visible. So, Honorable Gray, yes, we agree it is within your district. True. But I can bet everything in my life, over 50% of those who went to LU campus with Gray, some of them are not even 7th grade students. They have nothing to do with anything UL. So he has no right to take other people on the campus.
How you arrive at that point, George Lobo?
Because I live right on it. Yeah, LU fence next door is my house. All great day was to tell him many from Dan Jalastan, people from Buse Quarter. Some people I know them from the Ken Johnson Road, Buse Quarter, UN Drive area that flooded that place. Some of the students, let's be clear about it. Some of the folks are not students there. And look, I will say this. No one support Yeke's action. But, while it is true they say 2 wrongs can make a right. But Honorable Gray had tolerized other students on the campus. Mr. So, the Liberian National Police Headquarters, Gray passed by to go to the campus. So you won't tell me the police?
Okay, so why the police did not stop it?
That's not
Especially when there was a
again.
proclamation from the U.S. authority that the university is closed. Why the police did not intervene?
But the men passed by Central. That's my point. So more or less, it's like the police, seeing the amount of people that were marching with Gray, would have said, no, this is not a good idea. We'll go on campus to ensure there's law and order. But they didn't do it. So again, Mr. So, why it is true we want to prevent these things. I've always been at the university campus. People go to school in this country. Like my school, over 70,000 people. You never want to see the things we see with a school with less than 25,000 person. You know, there's a lot that happens on UL campus. But I think it speaks to the leadership. From the president, students will always have student movements on campus that they take on with the leadership on campus. But I think the problem with SUP when it comes to this government, I think the government sees them more as another political party from the opposition than that of a student group. And so everything about SUP.
Does the government have an argument on that?
No, I don't think so. They have no argument on that. Because you know what? When was the last time you saw a SUP protest where you saw Unity Party people in the middle of it? When was the last time you saw a SUP gathering on the campus? You saw ANC folks there. When was the last time? So, look, the government must handle its problem. We will still treat them as students. Not everybody that part of SUP.
You know what I want to in the example there? I want two people you see running in LPR.
I didn't come here today to make flower, but I'll leave it there, yeah? No, I ain't saying nothing again.
We're not going to give my candidate. We'll read without to St. John.
I'll be right in Ghana if you did, so I'm going to show my GV.
Let me get a pick out of you because you are one of the ear eaters of Ambassador Jose Newman Boyka. If Ambassador Boyka was in the proximity of the UL saying what was unfolding and that unfolded anyway, if you was in the overall office, what could possibly be happening at this time? Or now he's also seeking the higher office of the land. Do you know his positions, or do you think he's going to be speaking out?
The very first thing, honor a President Boyka leadership. Akara's Gray would never have gone to the campus. That's not even a discussion. He would never have gone there.
How?
Because from the moment he made a proclamation, he would have gotten a phone call, even without Ambassador Boyka. If some of us were in Liberia, we would have called him and say, cut that crap off. It's not necessary. You're a lawmaker. You can't compare yourself with SUP. You can't do it. End of story. And we would have ensured that that would not have happened.
On the flip side, George Lobo,
the police director was fired by this time. Because you know what? That place is a stone throw from Central. Your job is to protect lives and property. That is what you do. So what happened, Mr. So I don't even have to start preempting or start. It will never happen. I can guarantee you. Such a thing will never happen. Not honor a Boyka leadership. Never.
On the flip side, do you think the action by SUP, Warren, to stop Akara Gray or any other government officials, any other Liberians, set a ground rule that satisfies their own curiosity to people?
I said, what happened to the internet? It keeps sticking, bringing us up.
That means you're the Arizona internet.
He may plow me call on Amos Joy. You know, Amos Joy internet can create problem. And he get it now.
So that virus I was saying.
Okay, so Lobo, are you hearing me now? Are you hearing me?
No, he's frozen. He gotta get out and come back in.
Guys,
I'm hearing you guys loud.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, what I'm asking.
I think that you guys is internet. I'm good.
No.
Okay, you want play meeting or your one internet game party is not on 3 or all.
They say it's stable and stable that you and Amos Joy, ANC, a United Party, not friendly. So that what you're having, that you're having it.
The two of them hacking each
No,
other.
Let me ask you.
Don't say anything.
You know, we got to talk it so. On the flip side, SUP, the action by SUP to set their own standard, and I would say standard outside of the university authority. Say can't come here because say it's corrupt. Alfonso So can't go here because Alfonso So got died on his hand. Amos Joy can't go there because Amos Joy still yet to give a count of the 30,000 plus K and stuff like that. The actions of SUP, those things kept it repeated. It was not the first time, it was not the second time we saw the chasing out of Serena Seaforth and other people. I don't know what sort of measures were put in place by the authority to even have a conversation with these various student leadership. Whether it ever took place, God won't know. They need to also explain that. But do you think the actions of SUP warrant itself to behave, to say people shouldn't do this way?
You know, Mr. So I will not be hypocritical to certain things. We've had a country that given the foundation upon which most of these young people have gone to the university. It's like a pattern. When you listen to the Burma family, the late Amos Sawyer, that is how they said they channel grievances and they took on government. Now, is that what I would do? No. I've always argued that you can be a professional and get your message across. And I do not support one group of students trying to stop an individual. But we must not forget, freedom of expression. You can go on the campus. The students can boo you. They can shame you if they deem you to be corrupt. As long as they're not touching you, that's how some people will choose to express themselves. So we should not get this twisted. And so if the university students boo at someone, and let's also look at the character we're talking about. All the corruption, all the money that was siphoned for all kinds of projects that were reported for Legis. He was paid $100,000 to do social media awareness. So if the students that they've been young men, all of a sudden today is amassing wealth at their detriment, and they express that by booing you on the campus where they don't have food to eat. Again, Mr. So, sometimes I like to be rational, but I also always try to say why it's true I want to be rational. I always want to begin a judgment, because sometimes when you're not in the position, it is easier to say, oh, I could do it this way. Yes. Can it be done differently? Absolutely. But with this, Mr. So, the university itself, when we speak of the need for comprehensive educational reform, what people do in Liberia are these band-aid solutions. You go, you bring 2 new armchairs, you think you've solved the educational crisis. That is not it. A comprehensive educational reform will look at what students need to be doing on campus during school hours. What happened at UL don't happen at other universities. I'll tell you. Before I came to the States, I was on my way to go to Unilag, University of Lagos. But you don't see some of the things we see happen at UL campus. Again, what has the leadership done? Students should have student council government. But there are rules.
Which leadership are you making reference to?
The leadership from top to bottom. Because the president having a very good minister of education or an administrative educational board that is looking at those things, that are putting forth policy as to how students, those are the things we're talking about.
The university is an institution. It's the state higher institution.
Yeah, but the president appoints the president at the university. What
Yes,
has the university
and
done?
what is the authority of that president when the president is appointed?
To serve and to provide the leadership needed on the campus. That is why his procedures, his policies, his programs should be tailored for students. What has been done? When was the last time President George Weah called presidents of all public universities to ask them what has been done? What has been some of the plans to improve the learning conditions for the students on these very universities?
Not to put word in your mouth, I think we're going to be having a shortly divided role here before bringing in Sisi here. Now, the president should have done something. Perhaps we're dragging it down. Should the current president of the University of Liberia go? Is there failed leadership on the part?
Yes, he should have been gone ever since.
No, I'm asking. I'm saying right now, considering what's happening.
Yes, given what has happened, not just from yesterday, but the fact that Akara Green made a pronouncement. So that means the administration was aware. They knew. On every university campus, we have securities. The university securities, especially when a government official wants to come on a university campus. Look, Mr. So, we've been on campus here where major national leaders have come to those campuses. The programs are coordinated with the campus security. What was done? That is a failure of leadership because the president is an administrator. His job is to coordinate all the departments at that institution to make sure that that organization achieves its goal. And sadly for us, he has not been able to do it, and he should go. Yes, that's my position.
He should go. Sisi Goya, it speaks to the point when I was talking about national government, we say, okay, this is a university, they should do that. George Lobona is telling us that the president of the Republic of Liberia, he has the constitutional authority to appoint the president of the University of Liberia. Clearly, from all indications, I don't want to convey them. I need to hear their side of the story, but a red line is being drawn that the president of the University of Liberia needs to go and go now. Do you agree with George Lobo?
Well, to an extent, I however don't see the connection you're trying to draw between creating laws to infringe upon the rights of students as a government action versus the president taking action to dismiss somebody that served as his pleasure. The president of Liberia is a visitor at the University of Liberia. The University of Liberia, for some reason beyond my imagination, why people put it where they put it, directly opposite the seat of the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. I don't know what kind of sense of coin people had. That creates a lot of problems. You know, when you were talking, I was just reading the Washington Post report on what happened on August 22nd, 1984, when students at the University of Liberia were protesting the arrest of the late Dr. Amos Sawyer. When soldiers entered the university fence and beat people, and Jenkins Scott admitted that some people were flogged and raped, and he blamed that on a few soldiers that had gone amok. We don't want that. And so when we are blaming the Liberian National Police, I want to be a little bit skeptical. And I'm asking a question about Dr. Nelson soon, but I want to be a little bit skeptical. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt a little bit. We saw police officers at the entrances of the University of Liberia yesterday before Akara's Grade could enter. I don't know what the exchanges were that allowed them to allow Akara's Grade to go in, but had the police entered their campus and said they're trying to stop Akara's Grade, and Akara's Grade people, and by the way, before Akara's Grade could get on campus, I was watching Spoon TV, and there were already stones being thrown from within the university, outside. So had the police gotten involved deeply, would we have run the risk of having a few of them who are partisan go amok, like what happened on August 22nd, 1984? I don't know. There needs to be a holistic investigation of what happened, what went wrong, not to apportion blame, but to fix it so that it doesn't happen in the future. Now, on the issues of the president of the Republic of the University of Liberia, I would love for them to have a detailed accounting of how things happened. When did he release? When did the university faculty make the decision to close down the university. Because mind you, there is an association of the university faculty union that sometimes I don't know if they have to vote on closure or not, or if this is an executive decision. But when was the decision taken for the university to be closed? And how much time elapsed after that decision was made before that was sent out?
And why was that pronouncement made? Why the news was coming?
And that's the point I'm making. How aggressive was the pronouncement made? Because we've seen the university in times past, when they are defending certain things, they will send out the chief spokesman, the chief of information. They will be out there holding press conferences and all the media platforms. Did they appear on any one media platform to say the University of Liberia is closed? Did they send that to the government of Liberia radio station ERBC as an announcement, a public service announcement? Was it announced anywhere else? Did the students that were on campus, did they know that the university was closed while they were on campus? Because again, this tells me that chances are maybe Akara's grade even know university was closed. And I'm just trying to give the benefit of the doubt. I know Akara should know better. George Noble have said that. I know you should know better because another people reached out to you that you should not go. I'm just talking about the closure. Because I'm trying to tie this thing and ask Professor Nelson to really answer here. When did you make the decision to close the University of Liberia? How extensive was your communication that the University of Liberia was closed?
And why was it closing, in fact?
And when you said that,
great question,
that it was closed, and I'm assuming that it was closed because you didn't want friction, did you make a communication to the Liberian National Police officially asking them to take over security of the campuses so that they didn't bring those 4, 5, 6 police officers that was taken to the entrances? Because I got a funny feeling when you asked Moses Carter, he was saying
I called him today. And this is where the frustration comes in, because these people, when you try to also hear their side of the story, another layer that could be added to this question, I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. Who authorized the Liberian National Police to move closer within the proximity of the University of Liberia? And what specific instruction were given? You go and stand and be a local. Do not.
Maybe they were protecting the Capitol building. Maybe they saw a lot of rioters coming and they were just there to protect the Capitol building. The Capitol building is right there.
Should the police also?
Last thing, a question about that. Let me leave. Allow somebody else to speak rather. I would have called for the resignation of the president of the University of Liberia a long time ago, because I don't think he has the experience, prior experience in managing universities to be able to run the University of Liberia. For me, it is based on credential, not this mistake, but this mistake is evidence of the lack of credential. So I don't think he should be president of the University of Liberia, because I don't think in his credential there is enough lived evidence to show that he had the wherewithal to be able to run the highest institution of learning in Liberia.
Okay, Amos Joy, let me just bring you in here. Sisi has added another layer into this conversation, lack of credential. Perhaps if I could just throw a little bit red meat into a lack of competence. All of that factoring in now with this whole thing here. The police, they also have an explanation. Who ordered the police to move in there? And what specific instruction were they going there for? What do they know, perhaps, that prompted the decisions of the police? What were the communication from the University of Liberia authorities, and why? The university get a box share to tell us exactly what they knew, when, and why, based on the question. And those are key questions, answers when you're doing this business: how, when, and why. There must be answers should be provided. Who you think authorized the police to move within the proximity of the University of Liberia, and what specific instruction you think were given? Do they go there to observe what? To look at the building, to look at Capitol, to look at the Executive Mansion, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or just the beautiful traffic that was just rolling through? Why they were deployed there?
That was also they did it assessment talk, so they didn't forget it. But here's the thing here. That's what I told you. when there's tension in the country, student campus, what have you, the police got intel. They will try to do an assessment to find out what is going and what the potential will happen. And if the police did not do that, then it's a failure on the police part. Then Director Sue should be asked to explain. When Akaya Gray made that pronouncement last week, and all the call was coming on the radio, it was not the police duty, the intelligence unit to go to do some assessment on the campus to feed the pulse of the student, to see the atmosphere. What will happen with that? They can come and say, hey, we see a potential for trouble on the campus. And maybe call the university president and say, hey, what is going on? If the president is not reaching the call, here's what is going on. We're hearing this. But let the director come and explain to us what led them to deploy 5 or 6 officers at the entrance of the campus. What they heard, what they knew that prompted them to deploy those officers. And were they enough? Because they were deployed there. Student was on campus. So right there, commander should have called Central, hey, what we see here, we don't have enough manpower. We need reinforcement. Because we see here, all these things, they must come to explain to us. As my colleagues have said,
will we get
the
an explanation
president of the university have to give a timeline or event that led to that riot that took place. So all these things must be packaged and let it tell us what happened. Let me say something. People talk about security. Since there used to be, the air used to have security. I remember those they used to wear green. They had car on that campus, security. Those days, they used to have at the gate, there was a gate there. I don't know what I guess there. There's a gate used to close. They used to ask people for ID card sometimes to enter that campus. There used to be security. But since this after the war, I don't know to what extent that security has been beat up. I don't know to what extent now. But there used to have their own private security. JFK used to have their own private security. But I don't know what are happening to it now. So these are all things that we need to figure out what is wrong. And Mr. Gray himself, these are questions Mr. Gray should answer because that the university is within his district. But one thing I wanted to flag is that when last the Akaya Gray ever visited that university? Can someone tell me when last?
Does it matter?
I say, brother John Lobo.
Does it matter the number of times of visitation?
So these are issues we should be talking about. And here's the thing here.
For the trouble.
Akaya Gray did not go over there as only representative. You had a director of National Forestry Authority was there with him. 2 ministers from the Ministry of Information, one, I think, Molba Kwali or what, were there, and I think another assistant minister. They all accompanied Akaya Gray on that campus. What was the motive? What was the motive of this guy going there? Now,
let me ask Joy Lobo. Joy Lobo will tell us.
If we want to talk about to have a hearing on this, what I would suggest, there should be an independent council set up. That Mr. Akaya Gray will be invited.
Where is it coming from?
Yeah.
Who will constitute the independent council or select committee or whatever?
Well, the Senate or the president, if he wish to do so, George Biden.
If the president did, will you trust the judgment of that select committee?
If it is independent.
What is the category? What is your own measurement of independent?
Okay, you can have the Liberian Council of Churches or a civil organization.
Who will be praying for?
What did you say?
What?
So you can have this, and you should have full representation of the student body there.
We had LPR, SKTV, the Class Reloaded,
No.
Class, and the
SKTV now,
closing argument.
SKTV,
Yeah,
the network coming by.
Yeah, so
The way you doing phone drive
so,
now.
yes. So these are the things that I will state. But to
man,
that point, let me say
okay.
this. There's a reason that George Manuel Weah appointed Mr. Nelson, Dr. Nelson there.
Oh, yeah.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
What possibly is the reason?
To cause most trouble on campus. What do I mean by that?
Oh, let me
remember when they were having the late Dr. Sawyer funeral on that service on that campus?
Okay.
Jefferson
Hold on 1 second. Let me pick up.
that service.
All right.
Wait on Keto again.
Huh?
Now wait on Keto again.
I mean, the man is a contributor. Let a contributor don't make me speak crying.
Yeah, so let me just say so if you can.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Keto, let's hear from you. I think they are getting under your skin before I go to George Lobo yet. Let's hear from you. Amos George is telling us, and that statement is not the view of the Liberal Public Radio to say that the president appointed the president of Culture, a man from Atlanta, Georgia, who's seeking for vote. Okay, let's hear from you, Keto.
So, brother, and say hi to the panelists over there, George Lobo, visitor, welcome. So this is the thing, you know, we who know some of the history of what has been happening on that campus, and especially for George, or maybe Mr. Sissy, I don't know about George Lobo because he was in the CWA on that side. They didn't probably go to university or probably went to school on the side.
I went to Don Bosco.
But this is the thing, right?
I went to CWA
university when it comes to student politics. It is time for us to be sitting down and trying to play politics with it and shift blame on national government or the actors that were there doing whatever. I think it's sad. Like I said before, and I maintain my position. University, student government, the infiltration of our political actors, the opposition, back in the day, to come and indoctrinate our children, our young people at the time, to do their dirty work against the government because they had no political balls to stand before the power that was. So they used the students going through the university Liberia, and then later on, they start to recruit junior high school, senior high school, because it was Tottenham High, Newport Junior High, and just name it, all the other schools start falling through. Didn't know why they were even into this whole thing of demonstration. I think it was wrong then I think it's wrong now. I think student politics should remain on the campus of the university. Student politics should be about student problem on the university. If you're a politician and going to school at a university and you feel aggrieved about what government is doing, you go to your political party, your national political party, or hold your legislator or your representative put to fire so they can do something about it. But when you have students taking national politics and carrying it on the campus, bringing it outside the campus and attacking people and making it seem like the university is a political ground where nobody can go if the students are not in favor of the government, are in power, is bad. You can embrace opposition to go on that campus and you can heal them and put them in the air and make them sin. You cannot embrace somebody from the ruling establishment or the government from going in the place, and then we sit there and want to justify and play around. They're called a spade a spade. I think it's about time, if we want our country to move forward, is for us to put things in right perspective. Let the students be students. Let the politicians who are politicians be politicians. Let us go at it as politicians and whoever. But when the students get involved in national politics, it makes it very bad. Today, nobody can condemn the beating of other people, stripping naked of students on our campus by other students because it's soup. Yes.
Let's have a little quick conversation here. Students be students. What's the meaning of that?
Oh, The meaning is, and the reason I brought that in, the same very soon went up the hill to the American embassy. You have people who from the same university that support the government went up on that side, and somebody was flocked. And what happened? It was carried a while that CDC beat people, and the ambassador came up, and it was all over the place. But yesterday, we saw on the very campus, the soup started to beat on other opposition party within the university before Akara's Gray could even enter the university. When Akara's Gray left, and the other students that came behind Yeke Koluba jumped on that dude and beat him mercilessly at the point of death.
Where are you getting this report from?
I got a video of it. You will see them in their uniform, the t-shirts, their khaki, taking rock and beating on the guy who the naked. You see the picture, the guy laying out on the sidewalk naked. I got a good video that you will see play by play. The first dude that they recognize, they say you are from the other party, what they call them, Proza or whoever party from, and you could hear the soup guy saying, "Yeah,
Okay.
we got time. They'll beat this poop on the campus."
Let me hold you there. Let me hold you and go back to the guy. You can speak there. But let me ask you a question. Do you think Liberians, you, including myself and any other Liberian, do we deserve answers to what has happened? You think so?
We do, and we need that only answer. We need to put a stop to what is unfolding because it has a potential of putting us back into where we came from.
Why do you think the police left the National Police Headquarters and were moved to the University of Liberia? Do we need to know that? Who gave them that instruction and what specifically they were going to do? What did they tell them?
I think the police didn't go over there. They even take care of riot on the campus. I think they went over there to make sure that traffic flow freely. And what was that? Because when the journalists announced,
was there any reason for which traffic was jamming?
Well, students would have run on the main street. We saw soup coming outside the campus, running after other students and going back in, and people, a bystander were coming around. So I think the police yesterday was a busy day. People coming to the Capitol building, police station, so they have police standing around it so that people cannot barricade the street. I think that's what they were there for. And I think they miscalculated.
Do you think there will be a full investigation into this? That's a required. Do you think it needs full investigation?
Well, I think they need to investigate, and the investigation should be like lessons learned on how now to approach. Don't forget, the police are not welcome on a university campus like that when the students are there. The very students that take stone and throw university or police and say they shouldn't enter the campus.
All right, hold on 1 second. George Lobo.
I think my brother wants to say something. I'm trying to pull my thoughts together.
I see you walking and moving.
Because
are you being electrocuted in your chair there, literally?
Yes, because yesterday, and I would have loved for my brother to be having his face on his screen so I can really deal with him. Because yesterday, and hey, my brother Keto. Yesterday we had the same conversation, Keto and myself, and when I was the moderator, I couldn't speak. So now let me speak without being the moderator. I think this is being unfair, Keto, and I'm being very, very measured to say it's unfair. That you will see problems with soup, but you fail to lay an inch of responsibility on Akara's Gray. Yesterday, I pushed you over and over, and you refused to budge, and here you are again today. But you were saying there should be an investigation to determine what went wrong, how we shouldn't do that. But to have that investigation will include Akara's Gray. And look, let me push back for a little bit. I did not go to the University of Liberia. I went to CWA. But I will tell you this. To make a categorical statement and say the opposition did not have the balls to stand before the governments of the day, so they use students at the University of Liberia is vehemently false. Dr. Amos Sawyer went to jail several times. Councillor Tewan Gonglo went to jail several times. Matthew Tiajeden went to jail several times. History is replete with people who stood up against the government, whichever government it was of the day, without using other people. So, Mr. Keta, I will hope you can go back and look at your history and withdraw that, because there are people who lost their lives for actions taken on the University of Liberia campus because it was standing up to the governments of the day, and to say those people didn't have boss, I think it's a disrespect to them and their memories.
That's the formula.
Having said that, the issue of somebody being beaten and you get a video, these are the false flags we'll be talking about, right? There are people reporting that there was a supist, a student that was beaten by police and killed. Should we all be delving into these stories that we don't have? Give us the video in the chat. We'll look at it.
All right, I'll send it to you now.
I will tell you this real quick, and then I'll land. Real quick, my brother. I told you last night, I will say again today. Soup categorically was wrong in their prior actions, not just the one against Aloysius. In their prior actions against Samuel Twa, against McGill, against Serena Cephas, against the first lady of the Republic of Liberia, they have been categorically wrong from denying those citizens to go on the University of Liberia campus. Akaros Moses Gray, as a representative, should have known better, or to have known better. There's a larger share of this that should be laid at his feet. Because if the Liberian legislature decides to have a full audit of what happened yesterday in the University of Liberia campuses, should they call Akaros Gray as a witness? Or should he be sitting there questioning people when he participated in it and he put gasoline on the flame and he fanned the flame to a larger extent? My brother, we can all hold sides, but we can hold ourselves accountable. I agree that Soup was in error, but Akaros Moses Gray, as an elected official, has so many ways, so many vehicles that he could have driven. He chose to drive the violent one. And I think it was wrong, and we should call it a spade, according to you, that Akaros Moses Gray need to think better.
All right. Keto, stay. Lobo.
I want Keto to be on it. I want him to be on it.
Yeah, he's listening. He's listening to you.
Lobo, I'm still here.
Okay, so a few things I just want to bring. I just want to take my brother down memory lane because it's easy to call today and speak to this one incident. Keto, are you aware that in 2018 there was an election in district number 13 and there was serious violence where people with machetes, where the mayor was with them? There were people whose properties were destroyed. And let me quote your mayor. He said, "My men were trapped on the other side, so I had to go get them." Those were his words. And to hear you call today and speak about, we want to, sometimes the reason why I don't respond to sympathizers, admirers of the government is because for you people, I truly believe in my Kisi brother Koji when he said, there exist 17 continents, and I think some of you live on some of those continents. But again, you're speaking of the incident yesterday. I'll take you back again, further. When 4 auditors, the first 2 that were found in a car, your president stood in his church and had the audacity to open his mouth and compromise and undermine the entire investigation by saying it was a boyfriend-girlfriend thing. Where were you? You want to ask opposition? Let me stop there again. The legislature has a history of saying this very great, that Yeke's actions in the public bring the legislature to public disrepute. So I'm looking forward to seeing if Speaker Buffer Chimo and the CDC folks will say that Akaros Gray actions yesterday elevated the legislature. I try not to make this conversation about CDC because I know there's going to be a campaign. I want us to leave it to UL. But the statements you were making, my brother, the bias.
Oh my God.
Statement that the police were there because of traffic. My brother, listen, I live South LU fence, South Johnny Foyer compound. So you won't tell me it was when yesterday they knew that there were going to be traffic. Because Akaros Gray had announced weeks and days before he was going to go on LU campus. So what was done in response to Gray's statement that he will go on the campus based on your own statement? So the police ignored that part of it. Where anybody, we spoke of the need to investigate. This police has a history of doing absolutely nothing. And just to remind you, you people beat 102 at your party headquarters. You want me to glacier today? If I do that, I will not leave the show.
No,
I'll take the whole show to list the CDC
when you all around the place.
violence. But on the issue of what happened on campus, Akara Gray is a lawmaker. There are many things he could have done that the doors of the university will even be open for him. I have never seen this great man stand on the legislative floor to articulate anything that has to do with educational reform. Most of the public schools are within his district. When was the last time we saw Grace standing up in Capitol Building to say, Ellie, right across the road, I'm standing to request that there's more funding made available for the university? But the only time he can go there to go showcase his little ill-gotten wealth, and you want to come here and can't say, people using them, they're very same soup. I don't want to bring my party building in it, but those seeing young people, when Ellen was president, we have incidents. We can, if I was to go down the list here, but majority is not in the CDC, my brother. So it's unfortunate. Look, Mr. So you asked a brilliant question. And let me say this, by Joe. I don't like to, look, I'm a strong believer in management. And there's a reason why. They say for goals to be achievable, they must be realistic, they must be measurable. Look, Mr. So, honor the CDC. Anytime there is a pronouncement of an investigation, let me tell you what it means. This case has been concluded.
Christopher, hold on one second. I'll bring you on.
Because let's just go down this path. The 4 auditors, investigation. 16 billion, investigation. 25 million, investigation. District number 13, investigation. District number 15, investigation. In April of 2018, my brother, let me take you back so you can recall. Mayor Koji was going to Banga. He was involved in an accident when he wrecked the government car and killed that woman. What happened to the investigation? It's still being investigated. The police, I think their books are filled. Let them just do what they can do. The Liberian people.
Don't forget the weapons. The weapons we still looking for the investigation on the cache of arms.
So you consider these cases, they are cold cases now. We're not going to find answers to them.
I'll bet anything you will not get no answers.
And that cold cases, cold cases, look at the file.
Okay, well, yeah, well, maybe, okay, let's see. How to call the other episode on RD or something. But let me go on the line here. Christopher Lottie Tobasi is a strong supporter of the ruling establishment. Christopher, and you believe in law and order. So in the interests of the Republic of Liberia, not necessarily the CDC, Liberty Party, ANC, don't mind those people then. All of them.
LPP, the party too. You got to stop that here.
You better phone call elections so we remember your name. You better go find one Baba party and join there. Okay, on a serious note, LPP. So Christopher, let me ask you, sometimes, for the most part, sometimes, you take a realistic approach on things, and sometimes partisan attitude don't kick in here. Is anyone, do you think, based on what you know, what you have heard so far, and strong sympathizer of law enforcement, is there anyone in your mind should be held responsible, accountable to what happens yesterday?
Yes, I think the parliament as a whole, I think the lawmakers as a whole, because they are the first branch of government, they should be in America. This year must stay here, right? Must stay here. They went back to the drawing board and look at the laws that are not working. They took them out. They put new laws. You enact new laws. The ones that are not working. They are the lawmakers, Honorable Sue.
Okay,
they're supposed to work with the university. They're supposed to work with the university. I'm a big proponent of this university-based law enforcement department. Different from LMP. Let them just be there, go to work. That's their job, to be on our university campus if there are 100 men. Okay. They should have an arresting authority to arrest. and turn over to LMP. They should have authority to arrest. But the lawmakers ain't got to craft these laws. They got to work with the university.
Okay, in the interest of fairness, let's not put all of them in a basket of deplorable this issue here. Let's kind of eliminate, forget about the 103. Yeah, lawmakers. One of the persons so far, everybody's saying, well, he could have done something differently to avoid this crisis we are trying to manage, which of course we are unable to manage. That has to do with lawmaker Akara's Moses Gray. Do you think the judgment of this lawmaker also get us to this point of conversation?
Anyway, whether good or bad, right? But at least he has brought this whole thing to national discourse or debate. You know, whether good or bad. But tell me now, who's gonna go investigate Akara Gray? Say Yomri Kangawa was throwing hot coffee on somebody the last time, being violent. You know, you have the other man, Dara Dillon, say they must stone the president and kill the president, stone his vehicle. So, come on now. That these guys, you got a bunch of them, old ex-combatant rebels as their security guards, and these guys got no record.
Christopher.
Every one of them.
Mr. Tobasi.
Violent.
Christopher.
Nobody can get you hot tea.
I love Mr. So keep calling Christopher.
Hey, woman. We're not going to temperament. John Lobo did not say nothing.
Wow.
John Lobo did not say, Donald Trump, you cannot kill the president. Don't stone his car. John Lobo that's talking over there. We got to be fair. I'm saying let's forget about CDC.
Yeah, but
let's forget about university. Let's solve the problem of the university. The way forward.
Don't let
to the airport, he will land. Don't let to the airport.
Leadership will listen to this man, and I hope he himself too will write them some of the great ideas tonight that he has put for here, so that we all can work with it as a starting point. So that this
Christopher, listen now. Christopher, we know we get a taboo here. We get a taboo on this network. All, including ourselves as facilitator, we must be held accountable. Are you saying the Honorable Moses Akara Gray, lawmaker, is he above the law of the land?
I mean, I'd say nobody is above the law of the land. You know, I don't even know if the university even have policy. You see, policy, rules, and regulations. Honorable Sue, what we live by in this America, anywhere in the world.
But can you tell him who appointed the president of the university, so maybe that will help him too?
Even at your job.
Okay.
The first thing they give you is the policy, rules, and regulations. If you don't follow it, you're gone. Moses Akara Gray is I don't know whether the university got policy, rules, and regulations. I'm still looking for it. I don't even know if they got security to protect our children. You know, life and property. I'm still looking for it. I don't even know who is the
with
president.
The law enforcement background. Listen to me.
I'm not also pressing me. He said whatever idea, so I'm not talking soon.
No, the man said the man you in your column already.
True. So I'm not talking soon.
Yeah. So you with this sort of law enforcement background, so when the police or paramilitary, they are being asked to move into a potential place where there could be potential violence, why do you think the police were ordered to move? Do you agree with Keto for traffic?
Right.
What sort of traffic?
People were graduating? There was no, I said when you dispatch the police, when that 911 call comes into dispatch, and you tell them where your emergencies are, maybe you got several of them, many of them. You know, a first responder or wherever to send. You know, whether you want ambulance, you want police, you want wherever you want. I'm saying when they dispatched them yesterday.
Why you think they were dispatched?
It means there was an incident. There was no emergency.
What sort of emergency?
They don't know yet, but I don't know who placed the call, who dispatched it, who called it, who asked for it.
Thank you so much.
We don't know yet.
But
there was an emergency incident, something was happening, and they called them and they dispatched them.
Thank you.
They got on the scene, they assessed the scene, they make sure the scene is safe, all these things, they did all of that.
So you think in your mind when the guy not seeing the scene was stabilized, everything was normal?
I'm just assuming, I said maybe the scene was safe, maybe there was,
Okay,
I
but
don't
what-
know what they observed.
Why would he say maybe he didn't see the videos?
All of that.
You bring Keto can complete the thing here.
All right.
Yeah, but let me close too now.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Gee.
Quick. I'll go to the
My man,
Okay,
that's certainly you gotta go close. No lead to the
we are
airport.
done talking. We are talking north. On October, we talk. The people did the same thing in 1984. The same students, they did the same thing in 2001. The same suit. It's about time now that this thing be called student government instead of student party, and let put rules and regulations.
Let me just pick this last call from New Jersey and I will come to you guys, please. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Okay, let's go to Pepper State here. Let's Pepper burn my mouth before I go this evening here. 609 number 2128.
Oh, our host gone.
Caller, are you there? I think the caller, I think the host gone. Keto, you still on it, but the Keto still now on the line no more.
No, you know.
So,
the reason-
yeah, so George, while we're waiting for Mr. So to come back, I don't know if you want to respond real quick to the comments.
No, to be honest with you, I would say this to you.
I think
I'm
okay.
very. We got it. We got it.
I think we are back. Okay, I don't know how you can, I hope you don't put pepper in my eye from New Jersey. I can't even. Okay,
No,
good
I
evening.
won't put pepper in here from New Jersey.
All right, good evening. Just kidding. Good evening, brother. Welcome to the show. I guess you've been
I've been following the show, and I kind of like, I didn't want to place the call in, but I was pressed to place the call in because the last two caller, the last guy that said if the university got policy, I want to know which country he's from. Because you're talking about the University of Liberia, he asked if they got policy. It kind of stumped me. And he's really serious to ask that kind of question. But this is it. Let me just say this. Let me just give my little piece of advice. The only way Liberia will move forward, all right? Like this is it. The country, the University of Liberia do have a policy. Let me just answer this question. But we need to get strict rules and order in that country. I'm a typical Liberian. I live in Liberia. I went to school from first grade, from kindergarten to 12th grade. And when I hear from these guys, this is no party thing. You can love the party, but what right is, let me pull it there. But these guys will see the right, they will twist it. Like they don't see nothing wrong. The other guy said, the police want to go direct traffic. The University of Liberia, that Guala market, is that Guala market that they can direct traffic? The Canada are talking. We got to start. If we want for Liberia to go forward, we got to start some of these things. We got to start. I was in Liberia last year. I saw Moses Gray. Like we said, he's the representative for district number 8. And he said, the University of Liberia fall within his district. We agreed. The university was closed. Okay. Assume that he didn't get the announcement, it was closed.
30 seconds.
The journalist asked him, said, you came to have lunch and all the places are closed. What your duty was to do, to leave the campus. But you saw it, like my friend Lobo said, some other guys are on our campus yesterday, they have never been to the University of Liberia. They're 7th grade, 5th grade, but we're on campus to call chaos.
Okay. Thank you so much.
And, it's so sad. It's sad.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Keto stay on or you gone?
Yeah, Keto here. Keto,
I'm here.
Okay, because you let it do here wrong. Don't mind Keto. You can't hit, then you hang on.
Keto, let's hear your last word before I go to the panelists.
My last word again, brother. So I'm only after you tell me my last word. Y'all spill out all kind of what Tabada around here, and you want me to get last word and go, and the other man team.
No, but you
put it on a thing there.
We closing.
Why you don't want to appear on screen?
Oh, we closing now. Okay. So let me tell George Lobo something. We talk. You see, that's the thing about when I listen to George Lobo come into this kind of conversation. When they ask a specific question on a specific topic, he goes all around from Genesis to Revelation. We talk about Revelation, he going back to Genesis. Now, let me understand, brother. So, in the 80s, we saw what happened at the university. And I've seen this because my brother came at me on that issue, that political leaders had the balls to stand before government. They were at the University of Liberia at that time. There were students there too. Maybe not Amos Sawyer, but some of the people knew because they were at the university at that time. When flyers used to come, they used to drop at the university. Nobody would know how it even spread in the town. It was from the University of Liberia. They used the university students, the Progressive Alliance, used the university students to disseminate the information in the town, from connecting other high schools and junior high schools to carry on demonstration against government. That's a fact. It happened in Liberia.
No.
We were there in the 80s. We saw it until Doe had to send Grady Addison to the campus and students got killed in the process. So this is the thing I'm saying here. We cannot have our cake and eat it. We have to sit down, moving forward as a country. The young generation that want to come and take over this country to move our country forward. We have to understand that if you're a politician, stay in the lane of a politician. If you're a student, stay in the lane of a student. If you're a doctor, stay in the lane of a doctor, being a doctor. You cannot
what's political students
as a student and want to come into national politics.
So, Sese, asking you, there are some students there doing political science.
Yeah, I agree with you,
and that's what I said. I said, when you listen to me carefully, I said, if you are a student, because I know students at the university are also people who work in government and in private sector, and they have the other life outside of the university. If that's the case, if something wrong with government, go to your political institution. Don't use student-based
you're not seeing the truth.
To bring it into national government, because then
so the next time they make it be a panelist, man.
Coming at
he's a panelist, so he's can't show.
No, but yeah, he should come on. We can't for him to be panelist.
Or Freedom Radio. There was information.
Let me go to the guys now.
Going there to attack.
All right. Let me
just correct Mr.
Okay, so let me come to you guys.
Before, can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
You see, I like the fact that seditions follow me and they listen a lot. For him to say we're talking in Revelation, and I went back to Genesis, I just wanted you to understand that Genesis is the first book of the Bible. You will not understand the end of any story if you didn't read the story from the beginning. It is good that I had to take you back, because you seditions, you people forget. You say if you're a student, you must stay a student. Then your president is a pastor. Let him go stay be pastor. He's a musician. Should he stay a musician? You know, you people just talk. I ain't got patience. I'm here to discuss serious things.
It's about
I mean, you know, I want to deal with sedition in Liberia.
I will give a closing argument to Keto. Where you go?
Yeah, get your argument to him.
I will deal with seditions in Monrovia, not yet. Yeah, I won't be different. We'll talk national.
LPR is a public network, so we respect. We can differ with them with their views, their opinions.
No, I respect all Liberians. I don't care. You
and other people say, "Oh, God, we don't call people." We must be here accountable for things that we say. Whether it's true, it's a fact. You can judge that, but I want.
Judge you as a footballer. Let him stay on the soccer page then.
So, this is quite interesting. The politics of Liberia, George Lobo, Sese Goya, George Lobo, Unity Party guy, Amos George.
Can't call me on my phone. Okay, my time. I want to closing argument.
Yeah, you give it to him.
Amos George supports. Who do you support again?
Who?
That communist man, the man I like that, the man drinking coke all through, the man get free coke.
So you think I'll be afraid of George Lobo and Sese?
That's not all. I mean, Keto, if you want to hang out there,
no,
that's
fine.
Hang there
because he said something that I want to correct.
Keto,
come on. I guess he's a panelist. The Progressive Alliance were not on the university campus. Get that. There's a difference between the Progressive Alliance and that of Moja. Moja was based on the university campus. Progressive Alliance was outside. It was a political institution. Progressive Alliance never.
Okay, he's our guy. Let me call him back.
Hey, he's on my phone. He on my
no, let me call him on the same very number. Go ahead.
The man on my phone.
Oh, you on the phone?
Okay, he will answer your phone.
What Tapia? Dr. Larry Topa.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Those were people who were on the Moja side in the late 80s. Those are people who were on the Moja side. Michael George, John Bear, Nathaniel Bear, they were on progressive side of J. Bagger Matthew. So let's set this straight. You don't just come here and say progressive was putting a flyer. No. It was Moja that started that leaflet business in Liberia. So let's get the record straight. Now, let me go to Kevin. You said something that the guy who was beaten, there were two boys. I don't know whether you watched their own press conference today from CDC. They said that they showed two gentlemen that they said they were motorcyclists. Go and watch your tape. Your own CDC press conference said they were motorcyclists that they beat on LU campus. Two boys they had in display with a haircut. Are those students of the University of Liberia?
They drop off grade delegations.
Those are the people that grade carried there. Your own CDC people said it. Those are the people that grade carried the motorcyclists. Now, what motorcycle got to do on the university campus? Come on, you talk about this and that. Dr. Lester Tenney is a professor at the University of Liberia and a strong supporter of CDC. Have they ever attacked him? Dr. Lester Tenney is a professor, I think, dean of the business college, if I'm not mistaken. Has sued or any student body attacked Dr. Tenney on campus? He's strong. He's a strong member of CDC. I think executive. Has anybody attack him? To Mr. Tobasi, let me tell you something, Mr. Tobasi.
Yeah, let's do a piece of a piece.
Yeah, let me make a piece. You said that they were called 911 call. But if 911 make a call, they will have to give a hint of the incident to know what you're going to expect. You are a criminal justice student.
But they asked, they said, what is your emergency, sir?
Yes, Tobasi, you are
when you asked, they said, we're living in Russia.
They didn't know what they were going for. Is that how you're going to send the man on patrol? I thought you're supposed to brief the man on the operation they're going on. And what is
the radio battery went off, so they couldn't.
You assess the situation. They were on camera. They should have assessed the situation and call back the central law. We need more reinforcement. This is what we see here. But because the police,
they pay paper and they SKT men and bring flower on their platform to left. So I call
the police go on campus. There's a tension building. You go and park your car that you have to reverse. What sign security may do that thing? That car should be put in a tactical position that you can jump and pull up. But because they didn't park the car the way it should have been parked,
let's go.
Hitting somebody.
There's a video I had here for some reason. I don't know how when it's trickled about.
A pig is a pig. You can put listen to what is a pig.
Trying to under this is the greatest case.
Yes.
Okay, guys. Let me. Okay, Josh.
Yes, something. But he
don't
said that.
Don't put me your thing. Don't hold me on your witness.
Of the Senate.
So
nobody should call Akaya great name. Our chair, the sedition, President Protem said nobody should call Akaya great name. Then what is they hearing about? When Akaya great has been the subject, and you said nobody should call him on the floor. That's our chair.
Okay, let's leave it at. Let me go to Joy and Cecit Lawo. All right. This is the frustration to ordinary Liberians, to who still looking around to find a political accommodation. Everyone that took side tries to defend their own little alligator. Eventually, they're going to go in the belly of that alligator. It doesn't matter which side. But this sort of political correctness tone is always been escalated to the highest height. When we talk these issues, we try to find a solution because it's our country. Let me make you someone select committee chair this evening, George Lobo, even though it may not meet the consensus of other people, to find solution to this problem. what should the government or what should the university authorities do right now to avoid this sort of crazy thing that we are having here? To avoid, what can they do? The damage has already been done. What is the way forward?
You know, Mr. So the very first thing as a leader when you take over any organization, there's some basic fundamental principles. The reason why people ask for turnover notes, the reason why people do assessments in their first 3 to 6 months is to understand the magnitude of the level of work you'll be inheriting, is to know what needs to be done. Liberia is the only country where people inherit institutions, and their justifications for why they didn't deliver or they can't deliver is to blame their predecessors. Any men who were here were doing it. So the first thing that needs to be done, and that's one of the reasons I see my brother Tobasi asking me to be serious. I don't take, to be honest with you, any conversation that involves cities, I don't take you serious. There may be no disrespect from your president. Now I don't take nothing CDC serious. Just so you know that. That's just how I treat CDC business. Because you guys have been never serious before. You've never been serious while in government. You will not be serious when you leave power. So that's just how I treat you guys. Having said that, Mr. So, you appoint a new leadership. The first thing you do an assessment. What are the problems facing the university? The issue of student leadership. What type of reforms we need to bring to bear so that we create a learning environment. Because I would say this to you, not everybody on the university campus is involved with any of these student political parties. I know some students, they just go there, they want to study, they want to sit down outside, read, take their test, and leave. But they get caught up in these ongoing campus problems. So you want to create that learning environment first of all. But the failure of the administration to address those concerns, to do those basic things. Now we can go on a national level. What sort of conversation are educators, lawmakers having? Do they have the proper funding? I heard people spoke about prior to the war, there were securities at the campus. The university hired security. Yep. The university is struggling. The CDC is the only government that allot money for people, but they don't even get 20%. You allotted 650,000 to BWI, you get them 45,000. That's how you operate. Everything is a scam. You allot. Let me put your country on the book. They say the men love Grand Jury gave you 650,000 in country development fund. You don't even get 60,000. But they say the man that goes on. Let me finish. So my point here, the university, you say we've given them more money in the budget than any president. Okay, true. But they face more problem under your leadership than any other president. So what is the argument? So these basic things, Mr. So, if we want to keep students on campus, the reason why in other countries you see students focus on their work. Yes, we understand the need for student engagement, politics, and things should always happen. But the schools can have regulations. Look, I'll tell you straight up, Mr. So, I am not the smartest man. But if I walk into UL campus today and I was a president for 6 months, I guarantee you, there are basic things I will do in the first 6-7 months. You will not have that many free people running around say they own the Palaho talking all day. They're scheduling, just basic scheduling. When we schedule classes the way in which we schedule those classes, you will have a decision to make whether you want to be on the Palaho or you want to go to class. So there are simple things you can do. And furthermore, the grading system. The first thing we bring a system in place where there's a testing hall. The place you take the test, the people that grade your test, you don't know where. And I will follow up on it. And as soon you can pass 2-3 subjects, we put your probation. You will make a decision whether you want to be on the Palaho talking or you want to be a student. So, but the university, those things have to be put in place. So where we go from here, the first thing you have your UL campus. I will take everything you guys say with grain of salt. The university was closed. It was supposed to be closed. Should have been closed. Granted. So if the university, let's just assume, I'm being stupid for a second. If it was closed, then why or that or occurrence will be given an exception to go there? That's it. That's the first thing. I agree with you people. There should be independent hearings. Again, let me say this. I don't want to act like a fool. I'm a Liberian. I was born there. I grew up there. I know how the CDC operates. Any investigation, President George Weah, the GAC investigated, the LACC investigated. What the man did, he took it, he gave the Justice Ministry to go reinvestigate. It's just another waste of time for it to end.
Okay. All right.
You can't do wishful thinking.
So,
the Liberian people need to make a decision. This government will not do it. We need to decide on what type of future we want. It starts with October, this coming election. That is it. All what we can say is just about time. October will decide where we want to go. If we want to reform the university, if we want to reform our country, if we want to be respected, if we want to have a responsible government where the president is not recording songs, where people are not making fool out of themselves, we have to decide for ourselves. The university, whatever we get it, is based on the decision we make in 2017. And that is what it is.
Okay. So, Sister Goya, we found a solution. George Lobokin out. The president of UL should be fired. Well, I am not a favor of just firing without finding out the fault. I get into the bottom line, because if you don't discuss this thing, if you don't point out the wrongs, the next person you're going to bring, you don't know they're going to do and not doing work. Firing, is that a solution without us going in depth how it happens and other people, not just only, I don't think it should be only the president, but the boss start with him. He is the chief administrator of that campus. You, as a professor, if you were in his position today, how would that be handled differently than what we're seeing happening? And what could be your recommendation? Just how do you call it, free consultancy here for the good of the country, like what you're doing. What should they be focusing on right now?
Again, before making a judgment call on, because I've already said Professor Nelson should not have been even the president of the University of Liberia before this happened. So I'm going to put that out there. That is, regardless of this incident, I just think his lived experience managing universities is so thin that University of Liberia should not have been his practice ground. Having said that, as far as this incident goes, I will hold back judgment until we can find out really what happened. Like the things we laid out. When did the president issue this statement that the university was closed? What kind of deliberations were necessary? And if this was an executive decision, why did he take it when he took it? And after he took that, who were the stakeholders that this was communicated to? You know, we can fault the Liberian Council of Churches all we want, and I got a whole lot of issue with them. But they would have been a very good place to copy their communication to. Did you copy the Liberian National Police that has a headquarters within yards of the University of Liberia? Did you copy other law enforcement agencies? Did you even put in the Executive Protection Service, knowing that the executive mansion is just stone throw away from the University of Liberia, so that you didn't put at risk the president of the Republic of Liberia? There are a lot of things we need to know. But I've said for a long time he didn't deserve the job just on the lack of the curse needed in his CV. But look, I think what we failed to do in Liberia is we failed to do an adequate Monday morning quarterbacking. We have to look at what happened, and we have to take out all these views, all these different hats we wear. I have to take out my hat as an LPP partisan and a supporter of Tewa Gonglo. My man, start laughing my party.
This is the only time you can call it party, no one know that again.
I have to be willing to take out my hat as an opposition politician and wear the hat of the Republic of Liberia and look at this thing in depth, comprehensively, without a bias. This has happened over and over at the University of Liberia. Doesn't mean that it should continue to happen. What needs to be put in place? And I think to my brother Christopher Tobasi, he went long-winded, but he has some salient points when he was texting. And some of those points are the University of Liberia needs to have its own campus police. Honorable Moses Akaros Gray, within whose district the University of Liberia sits, should be leading the fight to include the funding of that campus security police to be included in the national budget. That is where I expected my brother, Akaros Gray, to have made that stand. And your plan area where you're standing on that and you're delivering, you're calling for the president of the university and the leadership of the university to show up, and you question them and you make recommendation and you tie money to your recommendation. In this country, when people pass education policy, they tie it to money. Because when you tie it to money, we're not doing it. You tell go do No Child Left Behind, like you want money, I'm not doing it. But you tie it to money, I'm forced to do it. You tie it to funding and do it. Raise to the top, Obama. You talk to people say we get top for it, but they tie it to money. We're forced to do it. So you tie the reform, the security reform, the political reform at the University of Liberia, the student politics reform, and everything else. You tie it to budget and to money. And I want no double money, the money that can fly on the broomstick. I want real money. You don't tell people get and say and 600,000 I get and says this. I want real money. Now no double money. We can get on broomstick fly away. You tie it to money and you tie it to funding and you put checkpoints and accountability. This is where I expect Akaros Gray to have stood up, to have risen up like a giant. But it's not still late. It is really not still late. Akaros Gray can still redeem and reform, lead the reformation of the University of Liberia campuses when it comes to student politics and the violence and the inadequacy and all of the other things that happen on LU campus. I think this is a learning moment for all Liberians, but we first have to find a comprehensive report that we all can look at, not to share blame, but to look at the way forward and look at where were the lapses and how do we make sure those don't happen? Because, but for God, that situation was very combustible. Had the Yeke Koloba group got on campus when the Akaros Gray group were there, I guarantee you would have been very, very vicious.
Disaster.
Thank God that didn't happen. So we need to come together, look at where were all of the lapses in judgment. How can we ensure those things not happen? I'm still watching to see the Honorable Akaros Gray rise up in the Liberian House of Representatives, stay on there in his place, and make a passionate plea and ask for budgeting and tie it to policy and make sure the University of Liberia delivers.
Okay, guys, we are going over the time, 30 minutes, but for the good of the country, it's our own man from the drive. He left the drive through this evening to join us here. I wish, of course, we got to be pushing it here and there. George Lobo, thank you so much. Hopefully this is not the second and last time. So,
my man, you can't be saying it now. Yeah, the other day again.
That's what I'm saying. I say hopefully.
No, I was surprised. That's my phone for them, man.
Apologies to say what the ambassador's giving a major announcement tomorrow. Is that true? George Lobo. Oh my goodness. Don't come play political tactics here this evening. Hello?
Ooh. I'm here for
the ambassador. The ambassador will be giving a major announcement.
Yeah, I want to say something.
Yeah, okay. Can you do it in 1 minute? Because I know you did first and the other people do. I'm getting a text message here from Unity Party folks, and I want Joy Lobo to validate this information. But go ahead. I think we're getting some breaking news here.
Well, I think I put something in the chat room for us. The statement from the ambassador condemning what happened on Capitol Hill from all sides, politicians, student groupings, Liberians, and all. He condemned it to the fullest and said we should not get involved in that. We should solve our problem at the table and at the ballot box. And also, he condemned to the strongest and said he is ashamed for people to sit in the diaspora, to use the diaspora to disseminate false information in Liberia that got the country to be like shaking or can put the country, plunge the country into problem again. He talked about it. He strongly, if you read the whole, I think I sent the challenge so everybody can see. But
can I call my brother off? Can I just 1 minute? Can I
Keller.
call my brother off? Keller.
Yeah.
When I do the thing here, man, look at that thing you share. Look at the typesetting on that thing. It's crooked. Look at the typesetting crooked. Go on the embassy website. I'm on the embassy website right now. The only press release that was there was one issued yesterday, and it was to American citizens to avoid those areas because they were.
I think that's a Carrasco version. That's a Carrasco version.
It is not on the embassy website. Look at how that thing is.
Let me address that. Let me address.
So we're not going to just do your 30 seconds. That's why most of the time when I see these things, I don't just jump on it because
seditions are special people.
See, I saw the test you sent me. I knew you want, but let me just talk to brother quick. I like the way you started your closing, by also recognizing what I said, that the university should be a place where students will go and learn, and there should be rules set aside that students will follow. And if you were given the opportunity to work for the first 6 months, you put things in place. Meaning, for my understanding, you're trying to say what the students are doing or what they've been doing in the past is not the right way. And that's what I'm coming from. I'm not wearing a partisan hat yet, or because I'm not a partisan of any party. I'm a supporter of this government. This is the thing. Time immemorial, the university has been a trouble spot in our country. Our students have been used to carry on dirty works of politicians, and that's my stand. It could be Joe we have today. It could be somebody else. Joseph Parker tomorrow. They will do the same thing. If we don't nip it,
guys, we got to stick to the time. I think we went through this. We have gone more than 30 some more minutes. Well, every good thing. Let's hear the ambassador is making an announcement. George Lobo, is that what you're hearing from your end?
I have no knowledge on that.
Come on. Why are you guys, everybody tight-lipped?
Easy problem. SKT get my face. You say answer the question.
I mean, Mr. So in the Liberian community, people are talking.
You don't have a knowledge about that. When would this announcement comes into play?
So, which announcement are you guys anticipating first and foremost?
Say me. I'm not speaking for anyone. I'm speaking for myself.
Okay, which announcement are you anticipating? The VP.
I want to see the announcement coming from Ambassador Boyka, Tiawon Gonglo, Ellis Coleman. We need to have a full team. And I know this concept of, we still get a long time, 7 more, 8 more remain. Please, I don't want to have a repetition of what happened, making somebody again to end up being packed. So we need, if there's anything to replacement, so that people will replace it. Is the vice president close in making his decision of his running mate?
Absolutely. That I can assure you. We are.
How long we get to go?
Nah, that I would not do. You should know me way better than that. That's not something I would do. But I can assure you, there have been people looked at. There are negotiations ongoing. That I can tell you. There have been serious.
Or without? Within, or is it vice president taking within?
Yeah.
Is he considering any potential Liberian outside of the bare way of the Unity Party, for example?
No, he's not picking. He's not going that route. We were looking outside. We expanded our horizon. One thing we try to do is to make sure. Look, at the end of the day, I was
in the coalition of the Unity Party.
No coalition. We are looking at all Liberians. All Liberians. Any one Liberian, Mr. So, you could be a potential candidate.
Person coming from Capitol Hill?
Mr. So, again, I say you could be a potential candidate.
All right.
All Liberians.
Can you do us a favor? Can we have access to the vice president, please?
If the vice president do, the other time I try, I think you meant something to tell you. And when I had, he and the vice president had a conversation. And I will continue to push for it.
Because this is a problem where some of us have with you people. Everybody tries to be protective of their own people.
No, not me. I think you guys.
Yeah. So, and the reason I'm saying this, maybe they will say this platform is not friendly. Ambassador Weah, Ambassador Boyka, Ellis Coleman, come there. You're going to get vote because.
But I want to give you the Unity Party chairman, our man Capet Doyen. He would like to speak on national issues on Tuesday.
Yes, I would love to have him here.
You are okay. Then you will have Capet on Tuesday.
Because we're hearing another faction we're hearing another faction or unity party in the making having
because Dr. Harry Papa Messi say he won't come to send the
suspended. Yeah, let him come. That would be nice.
Who's
that? He still suspended or he back now?
He is still suspended.
Okay.
We run institution. We are not going to play that. We can't be talking of going to LeBron to bring change, and we can't do it. We can't exhibit those principles.
Right. Guys,
thank you. We can't
much.
do that.
All right, gentlemen. Great conversation, but tomorrow we're going to be back here. This guy say he's going to be the representative for Amos George district. I don't know, Amos George, are you from district number 5 in Bond County?
I'll be there going, man.
No.
That John Lobo man, remember Unity Party. So John Lobo can't get
the Unity Party, man.
Yeah, like UP man.
One thing I want to be very clear about after the Unity Party. I don't care who you pick to run on your ticket. If the person is currently serving, I will campaign based on their legislative accomplishment. So I'm showing all of them. How many times you voted for us, the policies you stood up for. When our 16 billion went missing, did you collect your 10,000? Look, Liberian lawmakers are wicked. We say 16 billion of the country went missing. The guys went back. They collected 10,000 each. They say, think about it. Look.
So no reason of always, guys. I'm having headache right now. Thank you.
See you again, man.
All right.
Okay. All right. About $16 billion. Look at that. Look at that.
Thank you so much. Ketot, let's leave it at that. This conversation will always be. Thank you so much. Okay, guys. To all our many viewers, listeners, we want to thank you so much. I'm Afonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. Your comments, your tweets, your interactions, and those of you that call is such a rewarding one. Your commitment to this network cannot be overemphasized. It is about a sovereign nation, and we need to open up. If you someone who pressure can always go up, then don't listen to this conversation because you will hear them. But what we do here, we do not cut people off because that will not even solve the problem. We need to know the inner minds, the thinking, and how these people, their support for these folks to call their political leaders. That's the bottom to top approach, because if you can't persuade, if you can't get to know what these people so strongly believe in and doing what they are doing, you will not tackle the root causes of what we are having. So we don't cut, as long as you're not insulting, you can call me whatever name you want to call me, ugly, blind, whatever, it's up to you. You have the right to convict me, to say, I am this party. That is cool, no problem. As long as there's no insult. And this is why we need to elevate the intellectual discourse of our country, because everybody throwing tantrum for no reason, political tantrum, every day can turn defense his or her own alligators, those people who they have supported. And when they get it tomorrow in less than 1 month, and they come here and say, I am disappointed. The reason you are disappointed because you insert your own emotion, your personal feelings, forgetting to know you are talking about a sovereign nation. And you so much believes in those people to the extent you were unable to raise your hand to even ask the person that you're voting for why you want to be senator, why you want to be representative, why you want to be president. You deliberately, on purpose, decided not to ask those questions because you have been politically blindfolded and out of deceit. And we are seeing this happening over and over. So this is why when you call in here, we also ask you questions. Not just only the president, not just only the lawmakers, all of us, including us as facilitator, we do have shared responsibility for our country to make sure to make a good decision for the good of the country, not necessarily what is in it. Of course, don't get me wrong, politics is all about interest. But considering what is unfolding at this time, we need genuine, authentic, real people. And so we make bad decisions, the electors, because lack of information, falsehood, innuendos, subliminal messages, saturated people making fake information, and people wrong with it, And you, the supporter of them, you defend it to the cold belly. So it's the same. CDC defend their own, ANC defend their own, Unity Party defend her own. It's all over. And that has to come to a stop. And the only way that comes to a stop is to have these genuine conversations by not shoving things down the throat of Liberian. Every Liberian has the right to think and feel the way they feel about the government, about the oppositions, about how the society is playing out. Should we sanction peoples of their voices? This is why the civil life may have a roundtable conference, but our inability, lack of political tolerance has created all of these deepened wounds that we still find it way to cure. So we shouldn't insult people. We should listen to people, even if it sounds so horrible and terrible. But we must adopt what I call a persuasive method to convince them and bring them to an understanding and put that right in their own lap. Do you think if this happens to you, how do you feel? Like make people their own conscience. The devil that is in the bush itself has a conscience. If we do that and stabilize our conversations in the logical and reasonable context, trust me, Liberia will be revised. All of the people you support, they're running from one party to all of them. They car hold on. Why are they leaving Unity Party? They went to CDC. Why they left to CDC? They came to LAP. And why all of these proliferation? Well, that's the beauty of democracy. But what is their record there? They want political accommodation. Period. They don't pay membership due. They are not committed. Anywhere their belly will find accommodation, that's where they will go. I'm sorry to say, our own UG Fagon, he defended this government to the belly. No politicians in Liberia willing to take a political risk. They will never be in the system and stand for a cause to say, because XYZ is not happening, I am walking away. They will wait until they get fired and there's a policy differences with the president or whoever they serve, and then they turn around and they become a little bit chihuahua. I see that as being dishonest. And they're running their mouth all over the place now. They're telling us yesterday they were the defendant. Now, because it didn't go down well, the book has capsized, so they turn to be around. See here, Republican here, some Republicans they stand their ground. They vote against their own party. How many of our politicians, one of these days, how many of them ever stood out against their own party ideology or something that they don't believe in? So why people are jittering all within? CDC go CDC way, Unity Party go Unity Party way, ANC go ANC way. So what's the deal? Is that what I should carry my cholesterol above the level? No, not with me. We listen to them and we hold them accountable of their word. So that tomorrow, when these decisions are made, and they come back to tell us, knowing what I know now, because that's what they do. They see it, they're in denial of it, they will not admit. And when it goes wrong, then they come back and tell us after a year or months, knowing what I know now. You knew it on purpose, you were in denial. You refused because you thought something was there. Now it didn't happen. You tried to play a political correctness. It's unacceptable. That's not what we want Liberia to be. If this is the first time, we say thank you so much for coming here this evening. Whoever gave you the news, if you bump into it, just follow us. Unfortunately, sometimes we have a conversation that does not suit your political taste because we don't too much drama going on. So entertainment is the minimum on this network. We try to discuss this issue as we critique. We also try to put forward solutions for better Liberia. So this shouldn't be a last time if this is a first time here. Thank you so much for your time, for your company this evening, this morning. By God's willing, same time, same station, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This guy say he want to be representative of district number 5. Let's look into his agenda, why he wants to be representative, how he intends to do it. I am Alfonso Z and Salt of the Liberia Public Radio 10 LPR-TV. Until then, have a pleasant evening. And thank you for being part of today's program. I am a traditionalist as usual, so we always like to close on this note. This is the song. And let's go to neighboring La Côte d'Ivoire. Thank you so much and have a pleasant evening.
Le parrain permanent, Conseguela Rock. Assez au papa. Papa Joe Félix. Les femmes dynamiques de Taoubli. Dieu de Wakiba. Présidente Gay Marie.
This is a taken song from neighboring La Côte d'Ivoire in the interest of African solidarity. Thank you so much and have a pleasant evening for sharing your evening with us.
Dante Philippe.
Do you want to share your events with the world? Why not contact us? We are Liberia Public Radio, LPR. We are the specialists in advertisements, commercials, radio and TV services. We have the professionals that can help you sell your products and provide live coverage of all events, such as weddings, conventions, graduations, reunions, anniversaries, sports, birthdays, baby showers, religious activities, funerals, and many more. Take your phone right now and call any of the following numbers: 682-433-8802, 267-648-6089, 484-786-3337, or 916-533-2048. Our customer service representatives are waiting to take your calls and give you the needed assistance. It is LPR, the home of excellent media services, and your friends in business.
I am Alfonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. We want to thank many of our viewers and listeners for following us, for keeping with us. Despite of some of our talking points, historical, political disadvantage, but yet and still you believe in us. And this is why you are always here. Without you, we can't just do it by ourselves. And so we are very, very much grateful of your commitment to this network. It is still incomplete. We have a lot to go. And I want to say a big thank you to all our senior analysts of the Liberia Public Radio. We started at a very low pace from the district level, transition to a county level, and then we took a second thought, why not be inclusive into the political conversations in Liberia? And that's how this name Liberia Public Radio came about. And here we are today. We have great sons, daughters, professionals, scholars coming on board to make this network to be what it is. It is remarkable. Cece Goyle from Minnesota, the liberal cause in Minnesota politician, brought a lot to the table. And then it was just by coincidence. One of our programs just, placed in a car, and I just told him out of the sudden, he came on and it was amazing. Right there, it captured my imagination to the extent that the legendary journalist in Liberia who listened to it say, hey, you need to go after this guy. And when I went, he came with an open mind. Here we are today. Not to mention Dr. George Toto. I placed a call. It was very timely. I've been spending trying to check around as well to get back to the community. And I've come to realize LPR is the network to be with. Koto, Jalat, Balayant. All of these people call them and they all say, we coming on board. They are giving. We are not giving to them. They are giving to this network. That's the interesting thing about it. Wilton Keto, the guy from the Constitution State, pro-GOL supporter. I mean, the same way. Amos George, he's a guy being from day one as well. His commitment from the far right, but they said there's no Bible for